Chapter 31-34. Don't even think about it. Anux let out a roar as flames of fury surged in his eyes. Rumble. The aura around him was terrifying. Behind him, it was as if a black sun was rising. Streaks of God sequence chains shot through the air, wrapping around Ling Xiao. Everyone, attack together and kill him. Anux roared. The dozens of trial takers under him were all trembling with fear at this moment. They were completely stunned by Ling Xiao's powerful combat strength. After hearing Anux's words, they gritted their teeth and charged towards Ling Xiao. Even though most of them were at the first or second level of the Imperial Monarch realm, they'd formed an extremely profound battle formation. Their vital energy was connected to each other, and it erupted with a peerlessly formidable sealing force. Destruction arrow, destroy. Anux's eyes were filled with killing intent. Ling Xiao's strength had triggered the madness in his heart. Rumble. Mysterious runes appeared on his forehead and gathered to form an extremely mysterious arrow. It was completely black and filled with blood-red light. However, it made one's primordial spirit tremble. The mysterious arrow pierced through the void at an extremely fast speed and arrived in front of Ling Xiao in an instant. A gleam of light flashed through Ling Xiao's eyes. The mysterious arrow contained an extremely terrifying destructive force. It was as if it could destroy his Yuan spirit, causing him to feel a sliver of danger in his heart. Swoosh! 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 Black chains of order intertwined around him and enveloped him in an instant. The powerful sealing power formed by the dozen or so trial takers added to Ling Xiao's body, making him look like a terrifying ancient divine mountain. Let's see how you can survive. Anux's eyes were filled with a cold smile as if he was looking at a dead man. The destruction arrow was his destruction origin and it was the strongest killing force that he could unleash. Once the destruction arrow was unleashed, his destruction origin bead dimmed significantly. Puff! A blood-red light seemed to bloom on Ling Xiao's forehead. In an instant, Ling Xiao was enveloped by endless light. Was that fiend really killed? The three geniuses of the immortal tribe were given a fright. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. It's hard to say. That arrow of destruction is too terrifying. I feel that if it had been shot at me, I would have definitely died. Someone said with lingering fear. You're definitely going to die, but that's not necessarily the case for that fiend. Even the 9th prince and his highness the great-grandson think highly of him. They think that he's one of the strongest people on the Eternal Emperor's road. How could he die in this backwater place? Someone said doubtfully. Just as the three of them were feeling extremely puzzled, the void suddenly vibrated as a boundless heavens might burst forth. Rumble. Dazzling light blossomed in front of everyone. Divine rays of light shot out in all directions, and auspicious vapors rose. The surrounding void seemed to have been annihilated in an instant. Endless chaotic light gushed out, and a series of crackling sounds rang out, as if some kind of restriction had been broken. A powerful force that made one feel despair swept out like a storm, and instantly swept the dozen of trial challengers away. Ling Xiao stepped out from the chaotic light. His eyes were extremely sharp and dazzling, and no one dared to look at him directly. How is this possible? You can actually block the arrow of destruction? Anux's eyes were filled with disbelief. Once his arrow of destruction was shot out, even a 6th heaven imperial monarch would definitely die. Even a high-level imperial monarch would be heavily injured. That was the origin energy that surpassed time and space. It could ignore defense and shoot the arrow of destruction directly at the opponent's primordial spirit. Even so, it was still blocked by Ling Xiao. Your arrow of destruction is not bad, but it's still too weak. Ling Xiao sneered as a dazzling light rose in his eyes. Rumble. He punched down from the sky, and the surrounding void rumbled. The unparalleled fist intent that filled the sky condensed into a vast immemorial divine mountain that locked onto Anux. Although the arrow of destruction was powerful, Ling Xiao's indestructible primordial spirit was protected by 17 origin Dao fruits and was suppressed by the wordless heavenly book. As soon as it entered Ling Xiao's mind, it was devoured by Ling Xiao. It did not even cause a ripple. Damn it! Anux was flustered and exasperated. However, in the face of Ling Xiao's terrifying fist, he had no way to avoid it. He could only raise the spear of destruction to meet his enemy. Boom! The unparalleled fist print pressed down on the spear of destruction, and the spear of destruction vibrated violently. It instantly flew out of Anux's hand. Anux spat out a mouthful of blood as if he was struck by lightning. Boom! Ling Xiao punched down again, and the unparalleled fist intent was domineering and arrogant. The surrounding void was instantly annihilated, and Anux's eyes finally revealed a look of horror. Crack! His chest caved in, and his entire body was penetrated by Ling Xiao's punch, leaving behind a huge bloody hole. His face instantly turned pale. Scram! Ling Xiao did not turn his head. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he slapped out. The dozen or so trial takers originally struggled to come to Anux's aid, but Ling Xiao's palm covered the sky and was extremely terrifying. It directly sent all of them flying. As if they had been struck by lightning, they spat out mouthfuls of blood, and their eyes were filled with despair. Boom! 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 Ling Xiao strode across the void, as if he was moving across the heavens, and an invincible aura filled the air. A vast aura pressed down on Anux, causing Anux's face to turn even paler. You can't kill me. My elder brother is the young Lightning Emperor. If you kill me, you will be hunted down and killed on the Eternal Emperor's road. No one will be able to save you. Anux stared at Ling Xiao and said coldly. The young Lightning Emperor was where his confidence came from. With such an elder brother, he had nurtured his arrogant and domineering character, and he could do whatever he wanted on the Eternal Emperor's road. Young Lightning Emperor. What a boastful tone. I really want to see if your elder brother will stand up for you after I kill you. Ling Xiao sneered, and there was a trace of sharpness in his eyes. Boom! His unparalleled fist struck down, as if he did not see the anger and resentment in Anux's eyes at all. On the Eternal Emperor's road, it was a competition between supreme talents. The winner would live, and the loser would die. There was no room for mercy. It was just like how Ling Xiao had saved Anux's followers, but Anux still wanted to kill him for the heavenly taint origin bead. The strong were respected, and there was no logic to it. Strength was the only truth. Since that was the case, he would use his invincible fists to sweep through this chaotic world. Chapter 31-35. Anux was dead. The destruction spear could not save his life, nor could the destruction arrow. He was killed by Ling Xiao with a single punch. Even his indestructible primordial spirit could not escape and was completely destroyed. The dozen or so trial takers had also died in Ling Xiao's hands. Before they died, their eyes were filled with regret and unwillingness. If they had not been greedy for the origin bead, they would not have died. A black Dao fruit floated in Ling Xiao's palm. It was completely black and had mysterious lightning flashing around it. It contained a destructive energy fluctuation. This was the destruction Dao fruit, the source of Anuk's power. It is indeed a perfect origin Dao fruit. Looks like Anuk's identity is not simple. The young Thunder Emperor. Ling Xiao looked at the destruction Dao fruit in his palm with satisfaction. However, when he thought of the young Thunder Emperor that Anux had mentioned, he had a strange feeling in his heart. Is the young Thunder Emperor related to the Thunder Emperor? Thunder God Great World? Ling Xiao thought to himself. Through the fragmented memories, he knew that Anux came from the Thunder God Great World and was known as the young master of the Thunder God. Anux had an older brother, Alex, who was known as the young Thunder Emperor. Alex was extremely talented and powerful. He was known as the #1 genius in the Thunder God Great World. Even the few great thousand worlds around the Thunder God Great World were overshadowed by Alex's existence. They were even conquered by the Thunder God Great World in the end. Everyone thought that the young Thunder Emperor, Alex, would one day be removed from the word young and become the real Thunder Emperor. Alex's name was known throughout the Great Thousand Worlds and he had developed an arrogant character. However, the tragedy was that Anux had met Ling Xiao when he had just arrived at the Eternal Emperor Road. He did not even have the chance to escape before he was killed by Ling Xiao. Swoosh! The destruction Dao fruit flew into Ling Xiao's mind between his eyebrows and was slowly refined by Ling Xiao. The 18th Dao fruit. Ling Xiao was looking forward to the Eternal Emperor Road more and more. Perhaps he could really gather 3,000 origin source Dao fruits on the Eternal Emperor Road. My cultivation is only a step away from the fourth heaven of the Emperor Realm. However, I will need a strong opponent to break through. Ling Xiao thought to himself. His path was already set. Ling Xiao wanted to be firm in every step he took. Therefore, every time he broke through, he had to reach the pinnacle. Under the pressure of a strong opponent, he had to break through to a higher realm. The doom spear flew away. The real owner of the Spear of Destruction was Alex, and it was useless for Ling Xiao to stay, so he let the Spear of Destruction leave. I didn't expect to meet people from the immortal realm. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked at the three people from the immortal race and said indifferently. Lord God, we are not in cahoots with them. We are very grateful to Lord God for saving our lives. We will never become enemies with Lord God. A genius from the god race said with trepidation. The fiend in front of him was indeed as vicious and merciless as the rumors said. He had killed Anux and more than a dozen of his followers. They were afraid that Ling Xiao would kill them as well. After all, with Ling Xiao's powerful battle prowess, they probably wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow from him. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Just tell me where the geniuses from the immortal realm are now. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He was a step too late, but a step too late was too late. The Eternal Emperor Road was very strange. Although it looked like a road that ran through thousands of worlds and led to the depths of chaos, it also seemed like a mysterious world. The evil spirit's memory was sometimes good and sometimes bad. Ling Xiao needed more information before he could decide what to do next. Lord God, the geniuses from the immortal realm include the Ninth Prince, His Highness Great-Grandson, the ancient experts from the 9 great immortal sects who were sealed, and some powerful geniuses from the eternal immortal dynasty. They have already left and are probably breaking through the Imperial City and heading towards the end of the Eternal Emperor Road. We were a step too late and were transported to this wildlands. We were also unlucky enough to fall into the hands of the octopus monster. The genius from the immortal race explained honestly. Breaking through the Imperial City. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a bright light. He knew that there were a total of 108 imperial cities on the Eternal Emperor Road. Legend had it that only by breaking through all 108 imperial cities could one reach the end of the Eternal Emperor Road. How could the Ninth Prince and the others be so fast? Lord God, we heard that the Ninth Prince can directly locate the Imperial City. That's why they've already broken through the first Imperial City, but we've appeared in the wildlands. Another genius from the immortal race laughed bitterly. Master, I remember some information about the 108 imperial cities. The evil spirit's voice suddenly sounded in Ling Xiao's mind. Speak. Ling Xiao said faintly. Master, the 108 imperial cities are said to be formed by the heavenly Tao. They are meant to test the countless geniuses from all over the universe. They are both tests and opportunities. If you can break through all 108 imperial cities, you will obtain the opportunity to become an immortal emperor. The 108 imperial cities represent 108 supreme great Daos. If you can prove your Dao and become an immortal emperor, you will become an invincible immortal emperor and wield the great Dao origin. However, the 108 imperial cities are different. The last 12 imperial cities represent 12 supreme great Daos. They are the 12 great Tao origins formed by Master's 12 sky arts. The order of the 12 imperial cities was fixed. One had to take one step at a time. Only by breaking through the 12 layers could one step reach the end of the Eternal Emperor Road. As for the other 96 imperial cities, the order is not fixed. Geniuses from all over the universe will be randomly teleported. However, no matter which imperial city you appear in, you must break through all 96 imperial cities in order to reach the last 12 imperial cities. Therefore, when the geniuses from all over the universe step onto the Eternal Emperor Road, they will cherish every minute and second. They will look for opportunities to break through the 96 imperial cities and reach the last 12 imperial cities. The evil spirit explained. Is that so? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. He only knew that there were 108 imperial cities on the Eternal Emperor Road, but he didn't expect there to be such a thing about them. The 108 imperial cities should be the origin secret techniques recorded in the textless Heavenly Tome. What does the textless Heavenly Tome have to do with the Eternal Emperor Road? Ling Xiao thought to himself. Chapter 31-36. After the wordless heavenly book had shattered and become a part of him, Ling Xiao had gradually comprehended all 108 origin source secret techniques under the nourishment of the origin source secret techniques. However, although the 108 origin source secret techniques contained the mysteries of the great Tao origin, their offensive power was not very strong. Therefore, Ling Xiao rarely used them and only used them to nourish his origin source Tao fruit. Now, it seemed that the 108 origin source secret techniques were not that simple. Master, it seems that we are the unluckiest ones. The place we were transported to is the wildlands of the Eternal Emperor Road. It is very far from any emperor city. The only thing we can do now is to find an emperor city before we can continue on. The evil spirit smiled bitterly. Then let's go. As long as we keep moving forward, we will find an emperor city. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. There was a hint of anticipation in his eyes as he leaped into the air and flew forward. The three immortals looked at each other and breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Ling Xiao really did not intend to kill them. They didn't dare to follow behind Ling Xiao. Instead, they headed in another direction. The Eternal Emperor Road was vast and boundless and led to the depths of the chaos. The destination was fixed, but the direction could be different. As soon as he stepped onto the Eternal Emperor Road, Ling Xiao could already feel that it wasn't an ordinary road. What he would face next would likely be dangers and bloody battles everywhere. On the Eternal Emperor Road, 100 million miles tall city floated in the chaos. It looked ancient and mysterious, flowing with the vicissitudes of time. It was eternal and immortal. Sky-piercing Emperor City. Four ancient and mysterious words floated above the city, each containing a magnificent monarch aura. At this moment, in sky-piercing Emperor City, another figure suddenly opened his eyes. It was a young man with a head of purple hair. He had an imposing appearance and was extraordinarily handsome. Terrifying lightning flashed around him as if he could destroy everything. His face was similar to Anouk's, but his eyes were sharper and more domineering. There was an indescribable majesty and aura about him. The young lightning emperor, Anouk's. In front of him, the void trembled slightly. The destruction spear appeared in front of him, buzzing and vibrating as if it was transmitting some kind of message. Anouk's is dead. Who is so audacious? An indifferent yet dignified voice rang out like thunder, shaking the entire palace. The palace rumbled, and several figures with powerful auras outside seemed to feel Alex's anger. They all knelt down, trembling with fear. They were all followers of Alix, but they had never seen Alix so angry before. This was because there was simply no one who could anger the young Lightning Emperor. Anyone who had offended the young Lightning Emperor had already died long ago. What did they hear? Anouk's was dead. This was the young Lightning Emperor's most beloved little brother. In the entire Eternal Emperor's Road, who would dare to provoke the mighty young Lightning Emperor? He was simply courting death. Very good. I will remember you. I hope you don't die in the hands of others. I will personally break your bones one by one and let you experience a death 10,000 times more painful than Anouk's. An incomparably cold voice sounded. Whoosh! Alex exuded an aura of destruction as he stepped out of the palace. The lightning in his eyes seemed to be able to reopen the world. Young Lightning Emperor, Are we going to hunt down that thief now? A follower mustered up his courage and asked. No. Let's go to the destruction forest now. We have our own things to do. Let's break through the Sky Emperor City first. Alex said indifferently. Yes. All the followers felt a chill in their hearts and bowed in response. Although the young Lightning Emperor was angry, he did not let his anger get to his head and chose to continue moving forward. On the Eternal Emperor's road, there was no room for retreat, and there was no room for retreat. The ultimate opportunity was the goal that everyone coveted. Although Alex was angry, he still chose to be rational. All the geniuses in the universe, from ancient times to the present, did not want to obtain the opportunity to become an emperor and the secret of transcendence. Whoosh! 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 All the followers followed behind Alex and turned into a dazzling stream of light, traversing the void. On the Eternal Emperor's road, countless geniuses stepped into the Emperor's city and accepted the challenge. They wanted to break through the Emperor's city one by one and advance forward. As for Ling Xiao, he was still moving forward in the wilderness of the Eternal Emperor's road. The surrounding chaotic void was ethereal and he could not see the Emperor's city. However, danger could be seen everywhere. This was the wilderness of the Eternal Emperor's road. Although there were few people, it was more dangerous in a way. Many powerful creatures that were born on the Eternal Emperor's road loved to hunt the trial challengers and snatch their life origin and origin beads. It was inevitable that Ling Xiao would encounter many hunters and engage in battle after battle with them. Those hunters were deceived by the appearance of Ling Xiao's cultivation. In the end, all of them died at Ling Xiao's hands. Besides the hunters, there were other dangers. Powerful and strange ancient beasts, various strange insects, and even the terrifying array formed by the Origin Great Tao. Ling Xiao fought a bloody battle as he moved forward. He was also inevitably injured. His battle prowess was strong, and he was invincible among his peers. However, he was not invincible in the world. Facing those powerful hunters and strange ancient beasts, he also suffered heavy injuries. In the end, he fought a bloody battle and killed all his enemies. Ling Xiao's aura became more and more condensed. He was like an ascetic monk who had endured hardships. His aura was restrained to the extreme and he was like an ordinary person walking on the vast chaotic ancient road. However, his eyes became brighter and sharper. It was a kind of calmness that washed away the vanity and melted all things. It was also a kind of calmness that saw through the world and did not feel joy or sorrow. Although he did not set foot in the Emperor's city, it was a rare experience for Ling Xiao. He did not know how long he walked like this. Perhaps it was a few days, a few months, or a few years. Time seemed to have become meaningless. There were no boundaries in space. The only thing Ling Xiao needed to do was to keep moving forward and fighting. And on this day, he finally saw the Emperor's city. In the vast chaotic void, a giant city hundreds of millions of miles tall stood under the sky, sitting on the Eternal Emperor's road. The Emperor's city was taller than the sky, wider than the earth, more eternal than time, and more solid than space. Any living being, even primeval beasts, would feel their own insignificance when they saw the imperial city. It was because this was the eternal imperial city. It had once traversed 108 eras and witnessed the rise and fall of countless geniuses. It had seen all sorts of monstrous geniuses turn into dust. I've finally arrived at the Emperor's city. Ling Xiao murmured to himself. He stared at the giant city with a smile on his face. Chapter 31-37. Candle Dragon Imperial City. Four ancient and mysterious words floated above the ancient giant city like a divine dragon soaring in the 9 heavens, exuding a domineering and majestic aura. Ling Xiao could feel that the imperial city in front of him was exuding a vast dragon aura that was majestic and powerful. Candle Dragon Imperial City. Candle Dragon's secret skill, ranked 6th in the Earth Fiend realm, second only to the origin source secret skill of the 4 great sacred beasts. I didn't expect to come here. Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly as he muttered to himself. Rumble. The Candle Dragon Imperial City exuded a vast and majestic aura that made any living being feel insignificant in front of it. No one knew how the Candle Dragon Imperial City was built. Even the prehistoric beasts were like ants compared to the Candle Dragon Imperial City. Ling Xiao walked towards the Candle Dragon Imperial City. Swoosh! 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 Chaotic mist covered the Eternal Emperor Road. However, because of the appearance of the Candle Dragon Imperial City, Ling Xiao saw streams of flowing light sweeping across the sky. Their target was the Candle Dragon Imperial City. Those figures exuded powerful auras and their gazes were sharp and cold. They were all supreme talents from various realms and had been teleported to the Candle Dragon Imperial City. They wanted to enter the Candle Dragon Imperial City and challenge the Candle Dragon Imperial City so that they could break through the Imperial City. Therefore, they were racing against time and did not rest for a moment. Are they mostly from the demon clan? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. He could sense that most of those geniuses were members of the demon race. Their bodies were surrounded by demon qi, and their blood was boiling. Various mysterious and unfathomable phenomena were manifested. Of course, Ling Xiao felt that those supreme talents were unfamiliar. Perhaps they were not from the demon world. The demon clan was extremely large and spread across the heavens. Many powerful demon clans could open up a great thousand world and become ancestors. In comparison, the demon world had declined. Ever since the demon emperor fell, the demon clans in the demon world were struggling at death's door. Even the 5 great sacred tribes had suffered heavy losses. Therefore, the demon world was not taken seriously by those powerful demon clans. Maybe I can see Old Goat, Taoist Wuliang, and White Dragon Horse. Ling Xiao's lips curled into a smile and he was looking forward to it. Rumble. Just then, a few figures riding on golden horn dragon beasts arrived. Their auras were extremely powerful, and their eyes were cold and domineering. The people along the way all stepped aside. After sensing their powerful auras, they all knew that these people were not easy to deal with. They were 9 cold-faced young men. They looked somewhat similar, as if they were twins. They wore black armor, and the blood in their bodies surged. Above their heads, shadows of black dragons were intertwined. The roars of the dragons were endless, and the pressure was incomparably terrifying. They held all sorts of weapons in their hands. Even the weakest amongst them was at the 3rd heaven of the Imperial Monarch realm. The strongest amongst them was even at the advanced Imperial Monarch realm. This was an incomparably powerful force. The surrounding trial takers all made way for them. In the end, only Ling Xiao stood in front of them. Scram! A loud shout was heard. One of the young men in black armor looked cold, and he was surrounded by an ominous aura. The long whip in his hand was like a poisonous dragon, and it pierced through the void and lashed towards Ling Xiao. They were extremely fast, and they did not stop. The golden horn dragon beast charged towards Ling Xiao, and its sharp beast claws looked like they were going to pierce through Ling Xiao's chest. Huh! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a cold light. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the long black whip. At the same time, he kicked out in the air towards the golden horn dragon beast. Ling Xiao did not want to cause trouble, but it did not mean that he did not dare to. These people seemed to be used to being arrogant, and they acted as if they were number 1 in the world. They wanted to gain the upper hand and crush everyone who stood in their way. Ling Xiao naturally did not want to be their stepping stone. You're courting death. The young man in black armor looked cold, and the long black whip in his hand shone with a blazing light. In an instant, it was like a hedgehog, and sharp spikes grew out of it. It then lashed towards Ling Xiao's face at an even faster speed. The long black whip in his hand was a unique treasure. Although it was not an ultimate emperor weapon, it was extremely powerful. Who would dare to take it head-on? In his opinion, Ling Xiao's arm would be crippled very soon. Boom! The void shook, and there was an explosion. Ling Xiao looked calm, and he grabbed the long black whip. His unparalleled divine power exploded, and the spikes on the long whip burst into pieces. At that moment, Ling Xiao's leg landed on the golden horned dragon beast. The golden horned dragon beast had an extraordinary cultivation, and it was charging towards Ling Xiao with a terrifying divine power. Ordinary people would not dare to take it head-on. However, Ling Xiao's kick landed on its chest. In an instant, all the bones in its body were shattered, and it was like a pile of mud. It let out a shrill cry and exploded. What? The black-armored youth's eyes revealed a trace of shock. Before he could react, Ling Xiao's unparalleled divine power exploded. He grabbed the long black whip, and the young man in black armor flew towards Ling Xiao uncontrollably. Slap! Ling Xiao slapped the young man in black armor, and half of his face swelled up. Blood spurted from his mouth. You are courting death. The young man in black armor was furious, and his eyes were filled with hatred. However, before he could finish his sentence, he could no longer continue. Ling Xiao's figure appeared in front of him like a bolt of lightning. He stretched out his hand and grabbed his neck, lifting him up. He did it so casually, as though he was picking up a little chick. When the young man in black armor saw Ling Xiao's cold eyes, his heart quivered, and he fell silent. How dare you? Let go of ninth brother. Brat, how dare you offend the 9 dragon kings? You are dead meat, and no one can save you. The remaining 8 young men in black armor surrounded Ling Xiao. Their eyes were filled with killing intent, and they were extremely cold. They had originally wanted to watch the show, but they had not expected Ling Xiao to be so ruthless. In an instant, he had subdued the 9 dragon king. Which tribe is this young man from? How dare he offend the 9 dragon king of the winged dragon tribe? The 9 dragon kings are the 9 geniuses of the winged dragon tribe. They are extremely powerful and domineering, and no one dares to offend them. I'm afraid this young man is in trouble. That's right. Private fights are not allowed in the Candle Dragon Imperial City. However, this young man will die in their hands before he can enter the city. What a pity, the surrounding cultivators discussed, and their eyes were filled with different emotions. The 9 great dragon lords were famous amongst this group of people. Therefore, even if the 9 great dragon lords were arrogant and domineering, these trial challengers could only endure it, no matter how arrogant they were. Ling Xiao's cultivation level did not seem high. Although he had subdued the 9 dragon king in one move, the crowd was only slightly surprised. They did not think that he could defeat the 9 dragon kings. Chapter 31-38. What if I let him go? Will you let me go? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He glanced at the 8 figures around him. His expression was extremely calm, without the slightest hint of fear. However, in the ears of the 9 dragon lords, his words sounded like a sign of weakness. Let you go? How is that possible? Who dares to offend the 9 dragon lords is still alive. Let 9th brother go, and we can leave your corpse intact. One of the dragon lords sneered. Kid, you're the one who doesn't know your place. How dare you think you can escape unscathed? Let me go and kneel down to apologize. Maybe my brothers will let you go if they're in a good mood. The 9 dragon lord in Ling Xiao's hand sneered. He was infuriated. Being held in the hands of Ling Xiao was a great humiliation. He swore to himself that he would torture Ling Xiao later. Since you won't let me go, your 9th brother can go to hell. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Crack! Unparalleled divine power erupted from his hand and crushed the 9 dragons lord's neck. Then, he punched out in the air. The primal chaos fist imprint could suppress everything. Caught off guard, the 9 dragons lord was blasted into a bloody mist. The blazing heaven-devouring fire engulfed the blood mist in an instant, sealing the 9 dragons lord's indestructible primordial spirit and Tao fruit within. All of this happened naturally. It was so fast that no one was able to react in time. However, they were all stunned. They did not expect Ling Xiao to kill 9 dragon lord in the blink of an eye, despite looking like he was about to beg for mercy. The 9 dragon lords were one of the 9 sky prides of the winged dragon tribe. He had just stepped onto the Eternal Emperor's road, and one of them had already been killed. This kid is dead meat. Everyone thought to themselves. They looked at Ling Xiao as though they were looking at a dead man. The 8 dragon monarchs were stunned as well. They had not expected Ling Xiao to kill the 9 dragon monarchs so ruthlessly. However, they quickly reacted and were instantly enraged. Their eyes were surging with monstrous fury and murderous intent. You're courting death. Brat, how dare you kill my 9th brother? Pay with your life. Kill him. The 8 dragon monarchs were enraged. The killing intent in their eyes seemed to have materialized, and they were about to strike at Ling Xiao. The 8 golden-horned dragon beasts roared furiously, causing the surrounding space to tremble violently. Terrifying killing intent intertwined like a storm, enveloping Ling Xiao in the center. 9 dragon lords. Today, I'll turn you into 9 dead dragons. Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. His eyes were filled with a strong fighting spirit. Although he had killed the 9th dragon lord, the 8 dragon lords before him were still extremely strong. Their auras intertwined, and Ling Xiao felt a lot of pressure. Perhaps he could rely on the strength of the 8 dragon monarchs to break through to the 4th level of the imperial monarch realm? Chaotic light rose around Ling Xiao's body as a majestic aura spread out, preparing for an earth-shattering battle. Yingyilong, we haven't even entered the Candle Dragon Imperial City and you're already acting so presumptuously here. An ethereal and pleasant voice rang out in the void. Wang! The void trembled slightly, and a bright and holy light spread out. 7 figures came out of the chaotic mist. The 7 figures were all beautiful women with extraordinary temperaments. They were ethereal and untainted, like fairies from the 9 heavens. Their faces were exquisite and perfect as though they had been blessed by the Creator. They were flawless and breathtakingly beautiful. Their eyes were bright and resplendent, as if they contained a world of their own. They flickered with a myriad of colors, illuminating the Eternal Emperor's road. Most importantly, they had a pair of holy wings on their backs. They were as thin as a cicada's wings and looked flawless. It added a mysterious aura to them. They are, from the Feather Tribe. Someone trembled and couldn't help but cry out in alarm. Feather Tribe? Could they be the tribe that Emperor Yu is from in the legends? Emperor Yu is the only remaining great emperor expert in the universe. The Feather Tribe is also a peerless sovereign tribe. How did they come to the Eternal Emperor Road? These 7 women seem to be the 7 fairies of the Feather Tribe. The one who spoke just now must be Fairy Jinghong. Some people recognized the identities of the 7 women and started to discuss them. Many people looked at them with eyes full of infatuation and passion. After all, the Feather Tribe was famous for their many beauties. However, no one dared to do anything to the Feather Tribe because of Emperor Yu. However, if one could gain the favor of the fairies of the Feather Tribe, it would be a meteoric rise. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao with jealousy. They did not expect him to know the fairies of the Feather Tribe. No wonder he dared to kill the 9th Dragon Lord. Feather Tribe? Why would they stand up for me? A bright light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes as he felt a little puzzled. He had heard of the Feather Tribe before. It was an extremely mysterious tribe. They lived in seclusion and rarely appeared in the universe. However, he did not know anyone from the Feather Tribe. Why would the 7 fairies stand up for him? Fairy Jinghong. The 8 dragon monarchs shuddered. When they saw the Feather race, their eyes were filled with fear and passion. The Feather Tribe had Emperor Yu, which was not something the Winged Dragon Tribe could compare to. Yingyilong, the Great Dragon Lord, had once proposed to the Feather Tribe to marry Fairy Jinghong. However, Fairy Jinghong had rejected him mercilessly. He took it as a great humiliation. He did not expect the Feather Tribe to stand up for Ling Xiao as soon as they appeared. Yingyilong, the Candle Dragon Imperial City is right in front of you. The test has not even begun. Are you trying to show off here? Fairy Jinghong said calmly. Even though the Feather Race Fairy was beautiful, she was still the most outstanding of the 7 fairies. Her veil danced in the wind. Her figure was graceful, and her beauty was unparalleled. This brat killed my brother. He must die today. What I do has nothing to do with you, fairy. Could it be that this brat is related to you in some way? Yilong said with a cold smile. Everyone's expression immediately changed. They couldn't help but look at Ling Xiao and Fairy Jinghong. Ling Xiao's robe was as white as snow. He was handsome and had an extraordinary aura. Many of the Sky Prides thought that this handsome man might have a story with Fairy Jinghong. However, Fairy Jinghong was not angry at Yilong's provocation. Instead, she said calmly, I have nothing to do with him. I just can't stand your arrogance. Either you get into the Candle Dragon Imperial City now, or you don't have to. Fairy Jinghong's voice was calm and pleasant. However, there was an indescribable domineering aura in it that attracted everyone's attention. Chapter 31-39. You? Yilong was infuriated and his face turned ugly. However, he did not dare to fall out with Fairy Jinghong. Although Fairy Jinghong's cultivation was similar to his, they were both high-level imperial emperors. However, there was an extremely talented ancient Sky Pride among the Feather Tribe. That ancient Sky Pride was the most outstanding existence in the universe. Yilong did not dare to offend Fairy Jinghong. Kid, I didn't expect you to be related to the Feather Tribe. However, what kind of ability is it to hide behind a woman? Just you wait. I don't believe that Fairy Jinghong can protect you forever. Yilong looked at Ling Xiao coldly. The killing intent in his eyes seemed to have materialized. Let's go. The 8 Dragon Lords also looked ugly. Killing intent filled their bodies as they rode on their golden horn dragon beasts and left for Candle Dragon Imperial City. I really don't know them. Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. He rubbed his nose and felt a little wronged. Why did the mysterious Feather Tribe treat him differently? Was it because he was too handsome? At this moment, Jinghong Fairy walked towards Ling Xiao. Her eyes were cold and she sized Ling Xiao up with a sense of scrutiny. You are Ling Xiao. An ethereal and cold voice sounded. Ling Xiao was stunned. You know me. He did not expect that this Fairy Jinghong of the Feather Clan could actually call out his real name. Heaven's Chosen One, Ling Xiao. You possess the heavenly fate chi and are known as the person with the highest chance of becoming an emperor in this era. However, it seems like you are a disappointment. There are too many geniuses who have yet to grow up. Without becoming an emperor, you are just a pile of bones. Your cultivation is inferior to the 9 Dragon Lords. You should not have provoked them. Otherwise, it would be a joke if you died on Eternal Emperor Road. Fairy Jinghong said coldly. The meaning behind her words was very clear. In her opinion, Ling Xiao was not a match for the 9 Dragon Monarchs at all. He should have endured and not provoked them. Otherwise, he would only end up dead. Although he had good intentions, why did these words sound so harsh? Fairy Jinghong, although I don't want to embarrass you, I still want to tell you that even if you don't show up, they can't do anything to me. Ling Xiao said very calmly. His eyes were clear and indifferent, as if he was stating a fact. What he said was the truth. If there were no Feather Race members, perhaps Ling Xiao could make use of this battle to break through to the 4th heaven of the Imperial Lord Realm. Although the 9 Dragon Lords were powerful, they did not pose much of a threat to Ling Xiao. However, in the ears of the Feather Women, his words sounded like he didn't know what was good for him. Their expressions turned cold. What an ungrateful bastard. If not for Big Sister stopping Yilong, you would have died in the hands of the 9 Dragon Sovereigns. How dare you spout such arrogant words? A pretty young girl glared at Ling Xiao. That's right. You are only a 3rd heaven of the Imperial Lord Realm. Even if you were lucky enough to kill the 9th Dragon Lord, do you really think that the 8 Dragon Lords are so weak? Based on what you said, Big Sister saved you but delayed you instead. Another Feather Race girl sneered. That is how it is. Ling Xiao muttered to himself softly. His voice was barely audible. What did you say? Ling Zhao's words were like poking a hornet's nest. Instantly, the 6 feather race girls were enraged. Their expressions turned even colder. Forget it. Since he doesn't want to listen, let him be. Ling Zhao, I hope you know what to do. Fairy Jinghong stopped the 6 feather race girls and said to Ling Zhao indifferently. Then, she turned to leave. Wait. Ling Zhao took a step forward and stopped Fairy Jinghong. Is there anything else? Fairy Jinghong frowned slightly. Fairy Jinghong, may I ask where you know my name? Ling Zhao looked straight into Fairy Jinghong's eyes and asked. I can't tell you. However, I have one last thing to tell you. There is no absolute strength on the Eternal Emperor's path. You have to be careful, lest you offend someone you shouldn't offend and end up dead. Moreover, your old friends will worry about you. Fairy Jinghong said indifferently. Old friend? Ling Zhao's heart jumped. Just as he had guessed, an old friend of his must have told the feather race about his story. That was why Fairy Jinghong came out to protect him. I wonder who this old friend of mine is. Seeing that Fairy Jinghong was unwilling to say more, Ling Zhao did not force her. He cupped his hands with a smile and watched them leave for the Candle Dragon Imperial City. Many of the challengers looked at Ling Zhao with doubtful gazes, but no one dared to step forward and say anything to him. Be it the Winged Dragon tribe or the Feather race, they could not afford to offend them. Therefore, the best thing to do was to stay away from Ling Zhao to avoid being implicated. After all, Ling Zhao had killed the 9th dragon god. The 8 dragon gods would definitely not let Ling Zhao go. Ling Zhao did not mind. Light flickered in his palm and a black Dao fruit appeared. It was emitting a strange glow. Winged Dragon Dao Fruit. It's a pity that this Winged Dragon Dao Fruit is incomplete and not perfect. Otherwise, it could be my 19th Dao Fruit. Ling Zhao mumbled to himself. Master, the Dao fruits of the 8 dragon gods must be the Winged Dragon Dao Fruit. If you kill them all, the 9 Winged Dragon Dao Fruits will merge into one and become the perfect Winged Dragon Dao Fruit. The evil spirit said eagerly. Kill the 8 dragon gods? That's too cruel. We're not bandits. Why would we do something like that? If they don't provoke me, I don't mind sparing their lives. Ling Zhao said with a sigh. Hypocrite. You even killed their 9th brother. It would be strange if they let you go. The evil spirit cursed in his heart but did not have the courage to say it out loud. Let's go. Let's see what the test in the Candle Dragon Imperial City is. Oh, Lingxi said with an indifferent smile, a glimmer of light flashing in her eyes. Rumble. The Candle Dragon Imperial City was located on the Eternal Emperor Road. Chaotic mist filled the air and lightning intertwined. It looked majestic. The closer they got to the Candle Dragon Imperial City, the more they could feel the vast pressure from the city. It made Ling Zhao's heart palpitate. The city walls of the Candle Dragon Imperial City were grayish-brown. However, it was impossible to tell what material it was made of. It was modeled with the power of time but did not have any aura of decay. It was eternal and immortal. I wonder who built the Candle Dragon Imperial City. Ling Zhao thought to himself. Chapter 3140. The gate of Candle Dragon Imperial City was tens of thousands of feet tall, sturdy and heavy. The gate was wide open and there were powerful warriors in black armor standing guard on both sides. Their eyes were cold and murderous. They were all warriors who had experienced hundreds of battles and were extremely powerful. Although the genius trial takers from all over the universe had their own pride, they had to be careful when they sensed the aura of those powerful warriors. They lined up obediently to enter the city. Private fights are prohibited in Candle Dragon Imperial City. Those who dare to disobey will be killed immediately. Those who enter Candle Dragon Imperial City must follow the orders of the Guardian. Those who disobey will be killed without mercy. Those who dare to burn, kill, and rob in Candle Dragon Imperial City will be killed without mercy. 3 days later, the contents of the test will be revealed in the central square of Candle Dragon Imperial City. Those who pass the test can leave Candle Dragon Imperial City. Those who are unwilling to participate in the test will be killed without mercy. A black-armored warrior was clearly the leader of the guards. He was extremely powerful and had reached the high-level Imperial Emperor realm. His eyes were like lightning as he scanned the crowd. He held a bamboo scroll in his hand and read the contents in a thunderous voice. Hearing the words "kill without mercy," everyone was shocked. Guardian? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with light. He did not expect there to be a guardian in Candle Dragon Imperial City. The guardian is chosen by the heavenly Tao. The powerful beings on the Eternal Emperor Road are the guardians. Those who guard the Imperial City are also experts from various races. The evil spirit explained. Beings on the Eternal Emperor Road? Don't they know how to snatch the opportunities? Ling Zhao asked. It is said that the creatures on the Eternal Emperor's Road are cursed by the heavenly Tao and will never be able to become emperors. Therefore, the Eternal Emperor's Road's opportunities and secrets of transcendence are of no use to them. On the contrary, if they are loyal to their duty and guard the Imperial City, they will be rewarded by the heavenly Tao when the Eternal Emperor Road ends. The evil spirit said. I see. Ling Zhao nodded and said. Ling Zhao followed the crowd of trial challengers and entered the Candle Dragon Imperial City. Candle Dragon Imperial City was unexpectedly bustling, which almost made Ling Zhao think that he had come to a city in the mortal world. On both sides of the wide street, there were many shops. Young men were shouting at the door, trying their best to attract customers. After obtaining the treasures, some individual cultivators immediately set up stalls on both sides of the street to trick the trial takers who passed by. Ling Zhao felt that this scene was very familiar. Are they all from the Eternal Emperor Road? Ling Zhao's eyes shone brightly. He could understand the situation. It was not easy for living beings on the Eternal Emperor Road to obtain cultivation resources. On the Eternal Emperor Road, the source energy was very thin, so it was difficult for them to improve their cultivation base even after countless years of cultivation. However, on the Eternal Emperor's Road, there were many heavenly treasures that could not be found anywhere else in the universe. These were exactly what the trial challengers and geniuses needed. This was especially true for the truly expensive origin beads. They might not be of much use to the living beings on the Eternal Emperor Road, but to the various worlds' trial takers and prodigies, they were supreme treasures that could increase their strength. As a result, the Imperial City became a bustling place for trade. Origin bead. Perhaps I can buy some origin beads in the Imperial City. Ling Zhao's eyes lit up as he looked at the stalls on both sides of the street. On those stalls, there were some heavenly treasures, some specialties of the chaos, and even more origin beads. However, without exception, those origin beads were all of mediocre and lower quality. Ling Zhao did not even see a single perfect origin bead. I should be able to buy a perfect origin bead in the Candle Dragon Imperial City, right? Ling Zhao thought to himself. Mediocre and lower quality origin beads were of no use to him. If he wanted to refine and integrate an origin bead, it had to be a perfect origin bead. Only then could his cultivation base increase without any hidden dangers. Ling Zhao walked forward at the thought of this. He strolled around the Candle Dragon Imperial City and finally stopped in front of a grand and imposing palace. Fortune Pavilion. The Fortune Pavilion was very imposing and dazzling. The servants inside were all at the heavenly venerate realm. Most of the customers coming in and out were extremely powerful trial challengers and skyprides. The Fortune Pavilion must be one of the bigger treasure trading hubs in the Candle Dragon Imperial City. Sir, welcome to the Fortune Pavilion. Seeing Ling Zhao walk towards the Fortune building, a handsome servant immediately came forward to welcome him. The servant was dressed in black and was at the first heaven of the Imperial Lord realm. There was a mysterious chaotic aura around him. He was a living being from the Eternal Emperor Road. His eyes were sharp and he could tell that Ling Zhao was extraordinary at a glance. He immediately came forward to welcome him warmly. What's in the Fortune Pavilion? Ling Zhao asked indifferently as he sized up the Fortune building. Sir, the Fortune Pavilion is the biggest treasure pavilion in the Candle Dragon Imperial City. It contains everything in the world and contains countless Fortune Realm treasures. There are branches of the Fortune Pavilion in most of the 108 imperial cities. The servant in black said proudly. It's a chain. Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. It seemed like he had come to the right place. The Fortune Pavilion must have the treasures he needed. His heart was filled with anticipation. Is there an origin bead? Ling Xiao asked. Origin bead? Of course. May I know what kind of origin bead you need? Our Fortune Pavilion has low-grade, middle-grade, and high-grade origin pearls. The servant in black nodded. I only need a perfect origin bead. Ling Xiao said calmly. Perfect origin bead? The servant in black shuddered, and he immediately gave Ling Xiao a deep look. Why? There aren't any perfect origin beads in the Fortune Pavilion? Ling Xiao frowned. Young master, our Fortune Pavilion naturally has perfect origin pearls. However, you should know that after the Eternal Emperor Road opens, countless trial challengers will enter the Eternal Emperor Road. Origin beads are in high demand. Perfect origin beads are especially expensive. The servant in black said awkwardly. Expensive? Don't worry. As long as I'm satisfied with the origin beads, origin pills are not a problem. Ling Xiao said calmly. Origin pills were the hard currency on the Eternal Emperor Road. On the Eternal Emperor Road, the origin source energy was thin. Hence, the living beings on the Eternal Emperor Road needed origin source pills very much. As for the powerful trial challengers, they had to go through countless battles and needed origin pills to replenish their energy. However, Ling Xiao's path was different from theirs. The primordial immortal body could devour everything and the energy in his body was endless. Chapter 3141. Moreover, Ling Xiao had accumulated countless origin source pills in the God world and immortal world. There were dozens of origin source pill rivers in his inner world. These origin source pills, which were originally of little value to him, were now in great demand on the Eternal Emperor Road. Sir, please follow me. The servant in black gritted his teeth and led Ling Xiao upstairs. The Fortune building had a total of 9 floors, and each floor was guarded by a powerful emperor. Finally, the servant in black brought Ling Xiao to the 8th floor. Miss, this sir wishes to purchase a perfect grade origin pearl. The servant in black stood outside a room on the 8th floor and bowed respectfully. Got it. Let him in. A clear and melodious voice rang out. Yes. The servant in black bowed respectfully again, then carefully pushed open the door and gestured for Ling Xiao to enter. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he walked into the room. The servant in black closed the door behind him, not even daring to look into the room. He then bowed again, turned around, and left. Are you the one who wishes to purchase a perfect grade origin pearl? A pleasant voice rang out. In front of Ling Xiao was a woman in a long black dress. Her back was facing him, and her hair was like a waterfall. She was tall and had an extraordinary aura. That's right. Ling Xiao nodded and said. A perfect grade origin pearl is very expensive. Even the most ordinary origin pearl requires 1 billion origin source pills. Do you understand? The woman in black said, still not turning around. Origin source pills are not a problem. I only want a perfect grade origin pearl. Ling Xiao said calmly. Esteemed guest, please take a seat. The woman in black's voice was more enthusiastic as she slowly turned around. She was a woman in her 20s. Her skin was fair, her face was beautiful, and her figure was extremely hot. Every frown and smile exuded a myriad of charm. With a wave of her slender finger, a chair appeared behind Ling Xiao. A teapot that was as white as jade poured out a cup of tea. A fragrant aroma filled the air as the teapot floated in front of Ling Xiao. Esteemed guest, please have some tea. The woman in black said with a smile. Ling Xiao nodded and did not stand on ceremony. He picked up the teacup and drank it in one gulp. Good tea! Ling Xiao exclaimed in admiration. He could feel his mouth watering and his stomach full of fragrance. The cup of tea was like a flame rising in his stomach. Finally, it turned into a cool aura that rushed into his sea of consciousness and merged with his indestructible primordial spirit, making it seem as if his indestructible primordial spirit had become purer. To be able to make the immortal emperor's primordial spirit feel this way, this cup of tea was indeed incomparably precious. This is the impregnating snow tea. It's plucked from the depths of chaos and only ripens once every million years. You're in for a treat today. The woman in black said with a smile. How should I address you, miss? Now that we've drunk the tea, can I take a look at the origin bead? Ling Xiao said calmly. The black-dressed woman before him should be one of the upper echelons of the Fortune Pavilion. She was very powerful and was a high-level imperial emperor. Naturally, she exuded a charming aura that would cause others to be affected by her words. My name is Bai Luo, and I'm the Fortune Tower's lord. How should I address young master? May I know how many origin pearls young master needs? The woman in black smiled faintly. So it's the master of Bai Luo. My name is Ling Xiao. As long as the origin bead is perfect, the more the better. I'll take as many as you have. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. 1 billion origin pills wasn't expensive. Ling Xiao naturally wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to buy more. Young Master Ling Xiao. Looks like I've really met an important guest today. Here are 10 origin pearls, and they're all perfect. Young Master, are you satisfied with them? The Master of Bai Luo's eyes flashed. With a wave of her sleeve, 10 balls of light flew out from her sleeve. They were 10 jade boxes, and each box was made of warm jade that was 1,000,000 years old. A mysterious aura permeated the jade boxes. 10 perfect origin pearls. The Fortune Pavilion is indeed impressive. Ling Xiao sighed in admiration. He originally thought that it would be good enough if he could find 1 or 2 perfect origin pearls. He didn't expect to find 10. Ling Xiao naturally didn't hold back. He reached out and opened the 10 jade boxes. Buzz! The origin pearls emitted a dazzling light that was enshrouded in a mysterious aura. There seemed to be law lines intertwining within, vaguely forming a mysterious saber light that exuded a vast and unparalleled saber intent. It was a saber origin pearl. Other than that, the origin pearls in the other 9 jade boxes were also very common. They were metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. There were 5 origin pearls of the 5 elements: earth origin pearl, frost origin pearl, thunder origin pearl, and wind origin pearl. Other than the saber origin pearl, which was incomparably expensive and rare, the other 9 origin pearls were very common. Even so, they were still incomparably precious. In order to condense a perfect origin pearl, one had to cultivate the Supreme Emperor Scripture and comprehend the perfect Great Tao of heaven and earth. Only when one became an emperor would they be able to condense a perfect origin pearl. I'll take all 10 origin pearls. Master of Bai Luo, name your price. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He was very satisfied. Young Master Ling Xiao is indeed generous. Since that's the case, I'll be straightforward. I'll give you a discount. How about 100 billion origin pills? The Master of Bai Luo's eyes flashed and smiled faintly. 100 billion origin pills, huh? That's a fair price. Here are 100 billion origin pills. Master of Bai Luo, keep it well. Ling Xiao nodded and said. Among the 10 origin pearls, the most precious one was undoubtedly the saber origin pearl. It could be sold for at least 70 to 80 billion origin pills. Moreover, it was a priceless item. 100 billion origin pills was indeed a discounted price. Ling Xiao did not hesitate. With a wave of his hand, an origin pill river flew out and flew towards the Master of Bai Luo. The Master of Bai Luo did not stand on ceremony and kept the origin pill river, 100 billion origin pills. Young Master Ling Xiao is really generous to take it out just like that. However, if I may be so bold as to ask, why does young master need so many perfect quality origin pearls? The master of Bailuo smiled faintly. After all, most of the trial challengers and sky prides had only condensed one origin pearl. Only those living on the Eternal Emperor's Road would condense more origin pearls to increase their strength when they knew that they had no hope of reaching the Tao realm. Of course, if those trial challengers and sky prides broke through to the Imperial Emperor realm and reached the peak of their Tao of origin, they could also comprehend other Taos of origin and condense more origin pearls to increase their foundation and eventually break through. However, Ling Xiao was only a third heaven Imperial Emperor. He was far from being able to condense more origin pearls. Master of Bailuo, my path is different from others. I need to comprehend these perfect origin pearls and will not fuse them into my body. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. I see. Young Master Ling Xiao, I still have to give you a piece of advice. You have a bright future ahead of you. Now is the time to bravely advance and cultivate your Tao of origin. Do not be distracted by other things, lest you ruin your future. The Master of Bailuo said slowly. Thank you, Master of Bailuo. I will remember it. Farewell. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. With a wave of his sleeve, he kept the 10 jade boxes and turned to leave the Fortune Pavilion. Chapter 3142. Come out, Sister Jinghong. The Tower Master of Azure Heaven said softly after Ling Xiao left. A woman with a graceful figure and a pair of wings on her back, dressed in a snow-white veil, stepped out. Her entire body exuded a holy and mysterious aura. It was Fairy Jinghong from the Feather Tribe. Sister Azure Heaven, do you think he's a robber? Fairy Jinghong had a complicated look in her eyes. Robber? To be able to buy so many origin pearls at once, he does seem like a robber. But I don't think he's a robber. The Jade Fall Overseer smiled lazily, exuding a myriad of emotions. Why? Fairy Jinghong frowned. I don't know, it's just a feeling. He's the chosen one with the heavenly Tao's providence. Why would he be willing to become a robber? You're underestimating the chosen one. Besides, a robber wouldn't dare to buy origin pearls so openly like him, right? The Tower Master of Azure Heaven smiled. The chosen one. The chosen one is more likely to become a target, right? Fairy Jinghong said slowly as she pointed her finger upwards. That's hard to say. Robbers hide very well. But Sister Jinghong, you're cold and only care about the Tao. You don't care about anything. Why are you so interested in this Ling Xiao? Could it be that you're secretly in love with him? The Tower Master of Azure Heaven said with a smile. Sister Azure Heaven, this joke isn't funny at all. You know that I don't want him to delay the Empress. It seems like the Empress' taste isn't very good. Fairy Jinghong frowned and said. Sister Jinghong, you're getting bolder. How dare you slander the Empress? But I think this kid isn't simple. He might give us a surprise. The Tower Master of Azure Heaven smiled. 3 days later, I won't have time for the test in Candle Dragon Imperial City. I only hope that he can escape the pursuit of the 8 Dragon Lords and pass the test. If he dies in the Candle Dragon Imperial City, then he, the chosen one, will be the biggest joke in the world. Fairy Jinghong said calmly. Then, without waiting for the Tower Master of Azure Heaven's response, she turned and left. 8 Dragon Monarchs? Those 8 iron fools are indeed not easy to deal with, but why do I feel that this kid is not afraid? The Tower Master of Jade Fall mumbled to herself. Her eyes were filled with interest. Outside the Fortune Building, a strange light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. The aura of a harpy. Could it be Fairy Jinghong? Ling Xiao thought to himself. When he saw the Tower Master of Jade Heaven, he also sensed the aura of the Feather Race. Although it was well hidden, it did not escape Ling Xiao's notice. The aura of the Feather Race was pure and holy. Although Ling Xiao could not tell, he felt that there was a high chance that it was Fairy Jinghong. I wonder which old friend of mine she is acquainted with for her to pay so much attention to me. Ling Xiao guessed. He didn't sense any malicious intent, but it was too much of a coincidence that he had sensed the aura of a harpy in the fortune pavilion. Since he's an old friend, he'll know one day. Since the Candle Dragon Imperial City is so prosperous, I'll see if I can find more origin pearls of perfect quality. Ling Xiao suppressed the doubts in his heart and walked towards the majestic shops on the main street. Brother Ing, is that the kid who killed your ninth brother? In a restaurant not far away from the Fortune building, two young men with powerful auras sat by the window. One of them was wearing black armor and emanated a murderous aura. His face was cold and murderous. He was Ing Yilong of the Winged Dragon tribe, the leader of the 9 dragon monarchs. Opposite him sat a handsome man with a folding fan in his hand. He exuded a feminine aura. The handsome man saw Ling Xiao in the distance and gently waved the fan in his hand as he spoke with interest. That's right. Ing Yilong said in a low voice. This kid killed your 9th brother. Are you going to let him roam freely in front of you? If it were me, I would kill him right now. The handsome man said with a smile. Brother Zhu Chen, your ancestor is the guardian of the Candle Dragon Imperial City. If you want to kill him, it's fine. But if I do, won't your ancestor interfere? Ing Yilong said coldly. Zhu Chen was a sky pride of the Illumination Dragon tribe. The Illumination Dragon tribe had entered the Eternal Emperor Road countless eras ago and remained hidden from the world. The Illumination Dragon tribe's ancestor was the guardian of the Illumination Dragon Imperial City. The Winged Dragon tribe and the Candle Dragon tribe were inextricably linked. That was why Ing Yilong was able to invite young Master Zhu Chen. Of course I'll interfere. No one is allowed to fight in the Candle Dragon Imperial City. This is an iron law and I, Zhu Chen, am no exception. Zhu Chen said with a smile. If that's the case, Brother Zhu Chen, why are you being so sarcastic? Ing Yilong said coldly. Brother Ing, don't be hasty. Given the relationship between our clans, why can't I make a joke? Didn't you come looking for me this time to kill him? Zhu Chen said with a smile. That's right. This kid killed my 9th brother and we have an irreconcilable feud. I can't wait to kill him now. Therefore, Brother Zhu Chen, please kill him for me. I'm willing to pay any price. Ing Yilong said coldly, not concealing the blazing killing intent in his eyes. You're really willing to pay any price? Zhu Chen said with a faint smile. That's right. Ing Yilong said with a nod. All right. Since Brother Ing is so straightforward, I won't beat around the bush. A perfect grade origin pearl of the Winged Dragon tribe and 100 billion origin pills and I'll kill him for you. How about that? Zhu Chen closed the folding fan in his hand and looked at Ing Yilong seriously. That's too expensive. Behind Ing Yilong, the faces of the 7 dragon monarchs changed, turning somewhat ugly. Even Ing Yilong's face twitched. 100 billion origin pills was not a big deal. Although it was a hefty sum, it was nothing to the Rain Dragon tribe. This time, the 9 dragon lords had brought enough origin pills with them. However, a perfect grade origin pearl of the Winged Dragon tribe was a little hard to accept. Even though the 9 dragon lords were extremely talented, only 4 or 5 of them had condensed a perfect grade origin pearl of the Winged Dragon tribe. The others wanted to find opportunities in the Eternal Emperor Road to condense their own origin pearls. If he gave a perfect grade origin pearl to Zhu Chen, his cultivation would definitely improve greatly. He might even be able to pry into the secrets of the Winged Dragon tribe. However, after thinking about it, Ing Yilong agreed. All right. Brother Zhu Chen, here are 100 billion origin pills and a perfect grade origin pearl of the Winged Dragon tribe. I don't want that kid to live past today. Ing Yilong slammed the table and said coldly. An origin pill river and a dazzling milky white jade box flew out from his sleeves. Chapter 3143. Zhu Chen's eyes lit up. He immediately put away the origin pill river without hesitation. Then, he opened the jade box and checked the origin bead of Winged Dragon. Only then did he reveal an extremely satisfied smile. Very good. Brother Ing is indeed straightforward. Don't worry, I'll make the arrangements now. That kid won't live to see tomorrow. Zhu Qin smiled faintly. Then, he waved the folding fan in his hand and left in a carefree manner. Seeing Zhu Qin leave, the expressions of the 7 dragon lords turned ugly. Big brother, one of the dragon lords couldn't help but speak. Shoo! Ing Yilong hastily stopped him. Then he waved his hand. Immediately, a huge barrier enveloped the private room. Big brother, why did you give him the 100 billion origin pills and the perfected rain dragon origin pearl? Even if you want to give it to him, shouldn't you wait until he kills that kid? One of the dragon lords asked doubtfully. You don't understand. Zhu Qian is the guardian's favorite great-grandson. He has extraordinary talent and is worth our effort to rope him in. Moreover, since I gave it to him now, he has to do his best to kill that kid. Ing Yilong said slowly. Big brother, there's something I don't understand. Why do we have to attack that kid now? 3 days later, it'll be the Torch Dragon Imperial City's test. At that time, the Feather Tribe won't have time to protect him. Isn't it better if we kill him then? Another Dragon Lord asked. 3 days later. Let's not talk about whether there will be any accidents in 3 days. Do you really think that kid is so easy to kill? Ing Yilong said with a cold smile. Easy to kill. He's just a 3rd Heaven Imperial Emperor. Big brother, you don't have to do anything. I can kill him myself. A 5th Heaven Imperial Lord Dragon Monarch said with some dissatisfaction. You can't kill him. You might even die in his hands. Because his name is Ling Xiao. He's the chosen one of this era. Ing Yilong said faintly. There was a trace of dark light in his eyes. Chosen one of the chosen ones? Ling Xiao. The other 7 dragon lords were shocked. There was a trace of disbelief in their eyes. The words chosen one of the chosen ones seemed to have some kind of magic that made them fall silent. Even if he's the chosen one, his cultivation is only at the 3rd level of the Imperial Monarch realm. A dragon monarch said unwillingly. 3rd Heaven Imperial Lord? Could the heaven's chosen one be measured by cultivation? Have you all forgotten the former heavenly emperor? Ing Yilong sneered. Celestial Emperor? How can Ling Xiao compare to the Celestial Emperor when he has yet to prove his Tao and slay emperors? The 2nd Dragon Lord said in a hoarse voice. Then how do you know that he can't compare to the Celestial Emperor? He was the chosen one, so no matter how much one overestimated him, it would not be too much. Moreover, 9th brother was killed by him in one move, so we must be cautious. Even if we have to pay a price, it would be good to let Zhu Qian test his strength. Ing Yilong slowly said. What if Zhu Qian is no match for him? Even Zhu Qian is not his match. The corners of Ing Yilong's mouth curled into a smile. Isn't that even better? Then he would have offended the Illumination Dragon Tribe and the Guardian. Even if he's the chosen one, do you think he'll be a match for the Guardian? If he offends the Guardian, he'll definitely die. In that case, our Winged Dragon Tribe will only have to pay a price to kill our enemy. Big brother is truly brilliant. Ling Xiao strolled around the Illumination Dragon Imperial City again. In the end, he was extremely disappointed to find that other than the Fortune Pavilion, there were many low-grade, middle-grade, and high-grade origin pearls in the shops, but not a single perfected origin pearl. Only one shop had a perfected origin pearl that was regarded as the treasure of the shop. When they saw that Ling Xiao wanted it, they demanded an exorbitant price of 100 billion origin pills. Ling Xiao left without looking back. Only then did he realize how lucky he was to be able to buy 10 perfected origin pearls in the Fortune Pavilion. 28 Dao fruits are enough for my cultivation to reach the peak of the 3rd level of the Imperial Monarch realm. Now, I still lack a strong opponent. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Those 10 Dao fruits had already been integrated into Ling Xiao's primordial spirit consciousness and were being slowly refined by him. Powerful origin energy flowed throughout his body, causing his aura to become stronger and stronger. Ling Xiao felt that it would not be long before he could break through. However, at that moment, Ling Xiao was stopped by an uninvited guest. "You're Ling Xiao." A cold voice sounded. It was a young man in black with a strangely shaped saber on his back. His face was cold and he exuded an extremely fierce aura. His appearance was very ordinary, but his eyes were incomparably sharp, as if they were blazing sabers. An incomparably powerful saber will emanated from his body, locking onto Ling Xiao in front of him. "I'm Ling Xiao. Who are you?" Ling Xiao frowned as he sensed that the newcomer had ill intentions. "I'm going to kill you. Do you dare to fight me in the arena of life and death?" The young man in black said slowly. "Kill me?" Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. He did not expect the young man in black to say such a thing. He clearly wanted to kill him and even wanted to fight him in the arena of life and death. However, Ling Xiao did not sense any killing intent from the young man in black. He only felt a wave of anger enveloping him. "Sorry, I'm not interested in fighting you in the arena of life and death. Please move aside," Ling Xiao said indifferently and turned to leave. "You must fight me in the arena of life and death." The young man in black was extremely fast. In a flash, he blocked Ling Xiao's path and said stubbornly. "What? You want to force me?" Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. Killing was prohibited in Candle Dragon Imperial City, but there was indeed an arena of life and death. Only in the arena of life and death could one fight. Otherwise, one would be killed by the Guardian if one fought without permission. He did not expect that someone would want to force him into the arena of life and death. "You must fight me in the arena of life and death. As long as you agree, I can pay any price." The young man in black bit his lips and said in a hoarse voice. There was even a hint of pleading in his voice. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. The young man in black in front of him was at the sixth heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm. He should have cultivated the origin of saber. However, why must he drag him into the arena of life and death? "Why must you drag me into the arena of life and death? Don't tell me that you're willing to kneel down and lose your dignity." "What?" Ling Xiao sneered and said angrily. "I can't tell you the reason. However, as long as you fight me in the arena of life and death and let me kill you, I'm willing even if I have to kneel down." The young man in black gritted his teeth. His legs went soft and he knelt down in front of Ling Xiao. Chapter 3144. Ling Xiao was stunned. This was the first time he had seen such an action. The surrounding people were also in disbelief. They had never seen someone begging to enter the arena of life and death. Is there something wrong with this black-clothed young man's head? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He sent a voice transmission to the black-clothed young man. Is someone forcing you to enter the arena of life and death? Who is it? The 8 dragon monarchs of the winged dragon clan. I promised someone that I can't tell them. Now that I've knelt down, you can enter the arena of life and death with me, right? The black-clothed young man replied stubbornly. Ling Xiao couldn't help but roll his eyes. This fellow is really stubborn. However, Ling Xiao had already guessed that the 8 dragon monarchs must be behind this. Perhaps they had something on the black-clothed young man that forced him to challenge Ling Xiao. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. All right. I promise you. Get up first. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He needed a saber that was sharp enough to allow him to break through. He hoped that the black-clothed young man's saber was sharp enough. However, Ling Xiao didn't have much hope. Really? Thank you, thank you. The black-clothed young man's eyes were filled with excitement and joy. He quickly stood up and bowed to Ling Xiao. You're welcome. Remember that you're here to kill me. You should at least let me know your name, right? Ling Xiao felt a headache coming on. My name is Ba Dao. The black-clothed young man said seriously. Ba Dao. This name is really domineering. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly. More and more people came to watch the show. Especially when they saw a sixth heaven imperial emperor begging to kill someone on his knees, it piqued the crowd's curiosity. Ling Xiao turned around and walked towards the arena of life and death. However, after a while, he turned around and realized that Ba Dao was still standing there in a daze. Didn't you want to enter the arena of life and death to kill me? Why aren't you leaving? Ling Xiao said angrily. Oh. All right. Ba Dao was a little embarrassed. He seemed a little honest and his arrogance dissipated a little. Ling Xiao almost thought that he had mistaken him for someone else. This fellow, Ling Xiao shook his head. The arena of life and death was located at the center of Candle Dragon Imperial City. It was a vast and boundless space. Rumor had it that it was connected to Candle Dragon Imperial City's aura and was extremely sturdy. Even an extreme Dao Emperor weapon would not be able to damage the arena of life and death. The life and death arena was completely pitch black. It was formed from the blood of countless living beings over countless years, and it emitted a monstrous fiendish aura. Those with weak willpower would feel their legs go soft when they were hit by the fiendish aura. You want to fight in the arena of life and death? 1 million origin pills per person. In front of the life and death arena, a white-haired old man lazily reclined on a recliner as he spoke indifferently. You need origin pills in the arena of life and death? Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. Of course. Do you think that the arena of life and death doesn't need energy to support it? 1 million origin pills were already the price of cabbages. If you don't have the origin pill, then scram. The white-haired old man said with his eyes closed. Good. Here are 1 million origin pills. Ling Xiao nodded and took out 1 million origin pills. What about yours? The old man glanced at Ba Dao and asked. I don't have origin pills. Ba Dao scratched the back of his head and smiled awkwardly. Then, his gaze landed on Ling Xiao. You don't have origin pills? Without origin pills, you still dare to drag me into the arena of life and death? Don't tell me you want me to give you origin pills. Ling Xiao was so angry that he almost laughed as he glared at Ba Dao. That's for the best. Thank you very much. Ba Dao said to Ling Xiao embarrassedly. The gratitude in his eyes grew stronger. You, Ling Xiao glared at Ba Dao. Ba Dao's face was filled with innocence. Ling Xiao couldn't even vent his anger when faced with such a Ba Dao. Good. I'll give you 1 million origin pills. Ba Dao, if you're not as strong as I thought, I'll settle the debt with interest. Ling Xiao glared at Ba Dao and said fiercely. For some reason, Ling Xiao didn't feel any anger when faced with someone who wanted to kill him. Instead, he even had a trace of anticipation. Am I being cheap? Ling Xiao thought to himself. He couldn't help but shudder as he hurriedly chased this thought out of his mind. Young Master Ling Xiao, don't worry. I won't hold back. My blade is very fast. I guarantee that you won't feel any pain. Ba Dao said seriously. Then, I'll thank you. Ling Xiao said angrily. After that, he leaped into the arena of life and death. He was afraid that if he spoke a few more words with Ba Dao, he would lose his mind due to anger. You're welcome. You're welcome. Ba Dao waved his hand and followed Ling Xiao into the arena of life and death. Zhu Chen and Ing Yilong sat opposite each other on the 9th floor of a huge 9-story pavilion not far away. In front of them were delicacies and wine. Brother Zhu Chen, can this Ba Dao really kill Ling Xiao? He's only a 6th heaven emperor. I think it's more reliable to find a high-level emperor. Ing Yilong asked doubtfully. Don't worry. Ba Dao isn't an ordinary person. He's the son of destiny in the saber world. Not only is he born with a saber body, but he also has a pure heart. His attainments in saber Dao are amazing. He once killed 7 high-level imperial monarchs by himself. Zhu Chen said slowly as his eyes were filled with admiration. He killed 7 high-level imperial monarchs in a row by himself. He's actually so strong. Even Yingyalong couldn't help but gasp when he heard that. That's right. However, he was unlucky. When he and his sister entered Eternal Emperor Road, they were directly teleported to Burial Desert. They were surrounded by a group of sky burial ants. His sister was even bitten by a sky burial ant. In the end, he went berserk and killed the 7 ant kings of the sky burial ants. When I found him, he brought his sister out of Burial Desert. However, he was already at the end of his rope. I saved them. Zhu Qin said slowly as his voice was filled with emotions. Burial Desert. Sky burial ants. Yingyalong's heart skipped a beat. The Sky Burial Desert was a perilous place outside of the Candle Dragon Imperial City. The Sky Burial Ant was the absolute king. It used to be an untainted variant and was extremely powerful. Even a peerless Imperial Emperor might die if he fell into it. This Ba Dao managed to escape with his sister, and even slay the 7 great ant-hive ants. Even Yingyalong felt that he was inferior to Ba Dao with such heaven-defying combat strength. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Ba Dao is really powerful. Divine beasts have been running rampant recently. Some chapters may have been blocked. Mu Yu is currently editing them. If you encounter any errors or inconsistencies in the chapters, please delete them from the bookshelf and reload them. You'll be able to see the latest chapters. Chapter 3145. His sister was bitten by the sky-burying ant and was poisoned by the sky-burying poison. Although I managed to control the poison, it's not that easy to get rid of it. I made a deal with him. As long as he helps me kill Ling Xiao, I will save his sister. Zhu Qin said with a smile. Sky-burying poison. Brother Zhu Qin, you can't get rid of the sky-burying poison, right? As far as I know, unless you have condensed the poison origin or your cultivation has reached the Great Emperor realm, you will definitely die after being poisoned by the sky-burying poison. Yingyalong said with a frown. That's right. I lied to him. However, he won't be able to escape from me. After he kills Ling Xiao, I will subdue him and make him my most loyal subordinate. Zhu Qin said with a smile. When Yingyalong heard this, he felt a little excited. If such a monstrous genius continued to make breakthroughs in his cultivation, he would not be any weaker than those ancient top geniuses. However, Yingyalong knew that Ba Dao was not someone he could covet. Brother Zhu Qin, I only want Ling Xiao to die. Yingyalong said slowly. As you wish. Zhu Qin said with a smile as he looked at the ring of life and death in the distance. Rumble. In the ring of life and death, blazing lightning rose and the surrounding void trembled violently. Ling Xiao and Ba Dao exuded a vast and terrifying aura at the same time. Ling Xiao's body was surrounded by chaotic light and purple qi spread out for 30,000 miles. His eyes were like lightning and he seemed to be surrounded by the sun, moon, and stars. Behind him, a vast scene of the 3,000 world appeared, making him look majestic and mysterious. The reason why Ling Xiao could release such a powerful aura was because of Ba Dao. At this moment, Ba Dao looked like a completely different person. He unsheathed his long saber and held it in his hand. His body exuded an extremely sharp aura and he looked like a peerless divine saber that had just been unsheathed. His eyes were like steel and his face was fierce. The saber essence around him surged and was as vast as the sea. Endless blazing saber radiance flashed around him. A heaven-piercing saber aura appeared behind him and merged with his body. It locked onto Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, I'm sorry. If I don't kill you, my sister will die. If you have any unfulfilled wishes, you can tell me. I will definitely help you fulfill them. Ba Dao stared at Ling Xiao and said seriously. Are you so confident that you can kill me? Ba Dao, if you can't kill me, then what about your little sister? Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. Ba Dao was full of confidence. He believed that he would definitely be able to kill Ling Xiao in the life and death arena. Ling Xiao's heart was filled with anticipation. Perhaps Ba Dao would be able to give him enough pressure. If I can't kill you and die in your hands, I beg you to save my little sister. Ba Dao has nothing but a saber origin. I'm willing to give it to young master. Ba Dao said earnestly. There was a pleading look in his eyes. Then let's talk after the battle. Ling Xiao shook his head. Was Ba Dao really planning to rely on him? If Ling Xiao could not defeat him, he would die in his hands. If he could defeat him, why would this fellow entrust his sister to Ling Xiao? Come on, the two of us are going to fight to the death. It's not an exaggeration to say that we are enemies. Why do you trust me so much? Ling Xiao's stomach was filled with grievances. In the end, he was filled with fighting spirit. He decided that he would teach this fellow a lesson. Rumble. Ling Xiao's vital energy rose and the chaotic light gushed out. He threw a punch at Ba Dao. The chaotic fist print suppressed the surroundings. It was fierce and unparalleled. No one could withstand its sharpness. This was Ling Xiao's strongest chaotic fist. When it was activated by the primordial immortal body, it could erupt with destructive power. Fight! Ba Dao shouted. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Terrifying saber essence surged around him and intertwined in the void. In an instant, it turned into a terrifying saber realm. Swoosh! The black saber in his hand emitted a monstrous ominous aura. It was like a snow-white rainbow. Its speed was so fast that there were explosive sounds in the void. Before the saber arrived, the intent was there first. The terrifying saber essence was soul-stirring. It separated the heavens and the earth. It was as if it could cut everything in front of it into pieces. The snow-white saber slashed down from the sky. Its radiance was extremely dazzling. Rumble. The invincible fist print collided with the fierce saber essence. In an instant, a majestic airwave swept out in all directions. Around Ling Xiao and Ba Dao, a few huge mountains were swept by the terrifying shockwave and instantly exploded. The void shook violently. The terrifying energy was condensed to the extreme and then gushed out in an instant. Ling Xiao and Ba Dao could not help but tremble. They were both sent flying back at the same time. What a pure saber essence! Ling Xiao exclaimed in his heart. The fighting spirit in his eyes was also getting stronger. He suddenly thought of the sword heart saint from the immortal world. He was also born for the sword and had an innate sword body. Unfortunately, his state of mind was not good enough. In the end, he was afraid and died in the hands of Ling Xiao. However, the saber essence of Ba Dao in front of him was even purer. It was as if he was a flying immortal. It was vast and majestic. It was majestic and domineering. Ba Dao had a pure heart. Therefore, he had gone further than the sword heart saint in the saber Dao. Another Duguqiubai. They are not the same. Ling Xiao thought to himself. It was as if he saw the shadow of Duguqiubai in Ba Dao. However, Ba Dao and Duguqiubai were different. Ba Dao was born with a pure heart. He had the luck of the saber realm. He was born with the supreme talent of the saber Dao and was extremely confident in himself. However, Duguqiubai was different. Duguqiubai's talent was only average. However, his comprehension was superb. He had experienced all kinds of things in the mortal world. He had refined his heart and cultivated the sword in his hand. In the end, he had shed the ostentatiousness and left the purity behind to form his own supreme sword Dao. One was born and the other entered the world. However, both of them had reached the pinnacle of their respective Dao of origin. Your physical body is very strong. Young Master Ling Xiao, I won't hold back from now on. Be careful. Ba Dao said in a serious tone. His eyes were filled with strong fighting spirit. When experts fought, they would know each other's strength by testing each other's strength. Ba Dao did not treat Ling Xiao as an ordinary level 3 imperial emperor. Instead, he treated Ling Xiao as a real opponent. He wanted to fight with Ling Xiao. Don't hold back. Come at me. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Kill! Ba Dao shouted. His eyes were filled with killing intent. The saber in his hand shone brighter as he slashed down at Ling Xiao. Swoosh! 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 Ba Dao's figure instantly split into thousands of figures in the void. Each of them slashed down with a saber. The saber radiance was surging like an endless wave. The terrifying saber essence could not only hurt the physical body. The ominous aura contained within it could also attack the spiritual soul and destroy everything. This was the ultimate killing saber essence. In Ba Dao's hand, a destructive energy fluctuation erupted. Chapter 3146. Rumble. Ling Xiao pushed the sun, moon, and stars as he moved forward. His unparalleled chaotic fist print swept across the area. The fist print was vast and unparalleled. It kept colliding with the saber radiance in the sky, creating sounds of metal clashing and sparks flying in all directions. Ling Xiao's primordial immortal body was extremely powerful and had reached the great perfection realm. His bones could even withstand an extreme Dao Emperor weapon. However, Ba Dao's saber intent made Ling Xiao feel cold all over. The saber radiance slashed his body, leaving tiny wounds on his body. Although more saber radiance was shattered by Ling Xiao, Ba Dao's saber radiance was extremely fast. There was actually a scene of space-time distortion, causing Ling Xiao to be unable to completely defend himself. What a fast saber radiance! Ling Xiao exclaimed in his heart. The countless afterimages in the sky were distorted because Ba Dao's saber radiance was too fast. That was why there were countless Ba Dao attacking Ling Xiao at the same time. It was not a divine ability or secret technique but because Ba Dao's saber radiance was extremely fast. Moreover, Ba Dao's saber intent was extremely sharp and contained a kind of power that could destroy the soul. If Ling Xiao's primordial spirit was not strong enough and was protected by the 28 origin Dao fruits, his indestructible primordial spirit would have been affected by the saber intent. Not to mention, Ba Dao's saber radiance contained a kind of supreme power that could actually contend with Ling Xiao's fist print. It was overbearing and could sweep through and destroy everything. Although Ba Dao was only a 6th heaven imperial emperor, he was more terrifying than a high-level imperial emperor. Ling Xiao did not doubt that Ba Dao had the combat strength to kill a high-level imperial emperor. Someone has actually condensed such an immortal body. At this rate, I'm afraid I won't be able to break through his physical defense at all. Ba Dao thought in his heart. He was extremely shocked. Ling Xiao's chaotic fist print was unparalleled and could destroy everything. Every time they collided, there would be an extremely terrifying divine power that would attack him, causing his arm to feel numb. Most importantly, Ling Xiao's physical body was too strong. His saber radiance was so fast that it could even distort the void. However, it could not cause any fatal damage to Ling Xiao. Even if there were occasional wounds, they would be healed in an instant. It looked like he had the upper hand, but in reality, he could sense Ling Xiao's indifference and calmness. Ling Xiao's entire body was like a tortoise's shell, making him feel like he had nowhere to attack. Sky Tyrant Slash! Ba Dao shouted. The fighting spirit in his eyes soared to the extreme. Rumble! Endless broadsword will gathered, and the blazing light around him rose. The broadsword in his hand suddenly expanded in the void. Following the slash, it was as if the illusionary figure of a martial monarch had appeared behind him, holding a peerless monarch saber and slashing at Qin Nan. The real and illusory blade light instantly merged into one, turning into an extremely bright blade light. In an instant, it separated the heavens and the earth, causing the space in the arena of life and death to tremble violently. Good timing. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. The blade contained a majestic martial monarch's aura. It was a supreme martial monarch technique, and its power was unparalleled. Even he felt a strong sense of threat. Ling Xiao took a step forward, hugging the chaotic qi. Divine light surged, and purple qi filled the air. Behind him, chaos opened up, and the mysterious scene of the 3,000 worlds appeared. He threw out a punch, and the unparalleled fist print seemed to have blasted open the river of time. It penetrated through the 3,000 worlds, wanting to destroy all living things and create an epoch. This was the epoch fist. Ling Zhao's cauldron nurturing scriptures had merged all skills, and finally, he had created a peerless fist technique with his primordial immortal body as the foundation. As soon as the epoch fist was thrown out, the heavens and earth changed. The sun and moon dimmed, and the surrounding void trembled. That huge blade light instantly stopped in the void, unable to slash down any further. The unparalleled fist print collided with the blade light, and finally, they were annihilated at the same time. Crack! The void distorted, and mysterious runes appeared, supporting the space, preventing it from shattering. That was because the space in the life and death arena was being reinforced. Otherwise, Ling Xiao and Ba Dao's attacks would have shattered the entire void. Boom! Ling Xiao's body was shrouded in chaotic light. He was unparalleled, and his eyes were extremely bright. He threw out another punch, and the blade light was shattered. The space seemed to be unable to bind Ling Xiao. He took a step forward, and appeared in front of Ba Dao. Then, he threw out another punch. Ba Dao's eyes suddenly narrowed. The chaotic fist print was already in front of him, and he quickly raised the blade in his hand to block it. Boom! The black battle blade trembled violently, and the light was dazzling. The runes on the blade shook violently, and they exploded one after another. A spiderweb-like crack appeared on the blade. Crack! The black saber emitted a buzzing sound and actually broke apart from the middle. Ba Dao's arm was about to lose feeling, and he was sent flying. Hiss! Who is Ling Xiao? He is a third heaven emperor, and he is so powerful. Ba Dao is about to be defeated. Outside the life and death arena, the crowd discussed animatedly, and their eyes were filled with shock. Ling Xiao. He is the one who killed the 9th dragon god outside Candle Dragon Imperial City, right? He seems to be related to the Feather Tribe. Although the 8 dragon gods hate him to the core, they can't do anything about it. Someone said. Killed the 9th dragon god. This guy is really ruthless. Ruthless? I think he is just an idiot. Does he really think that he can do whatever he wants with the Feather Tribe behind him? When the test starts, he will still die in the hands of the 8 dragon gods. That's right, this guy won't live for long. In a restaurant not far away, the smiles on Zhu Chen and Ying Yilong's faces froze. The wine cups in their hands trembled slightly, and the wine spilled out, showing that they were extremely uneasy. Brother Zhu Chen, it seems like Ba Dao won't be able to kill Ling Xiao. Ying Yilong said slowly. Ling Xiao is really powerful, especially his physical body. It is comparable to an ancient beast. I really don't know how he cultivated. However, it is still too early to say that Ba Dao won't be able to kill him. Zhu Chen said. Why? Ba Dao still has a trump card? Ying Yilong asked. That's right. Ba Dao has yet to unleash his most terrifying power. That saber skill makes me think that an ancient emperor has come back to life. That is the saber skill that killed the 7 great ant kings. Ling Xiao will definitely die. Zhu Chen said with a sigh, and his eyes were filled with emotions. The saber skill that killed the 7 great ant kings. Ying Yilong's body trembled, and his heart was filled with anticipation. Seeing how powerful Ling Xiao was, the killing intent in his heart grew stronger. On the Eternal Emperor Road, the growth of those monstrous geniuses was simply unbelievable. He had no doubt that if Ling Xiao was allowed to grow, he would become a huge threat to the 8 dragon gods one day. Chapter 3147. Rumble. Ba Dao's aura was extremely sharp as he held a broken saber in his hand. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit as he charged towards Ling Xiao. Although his saber was broken, the saber intent in his heart was blazing. The Tyrant Emperor's slash was a Supreme Emperor technique. Although it was destroyed by Ling Xiao's epic fist, Ba Dao's Emperor's aura intertwined as his extreme Dao force rose. Vast origin source Dao circled around him like a dazzling galaxy. He executed an extreme Dao Emperor technique and his origin source Dao turned into a sharp saber radiance as he slashed towards Ling Xiao. He could feel Ling Xiao's strength, so his attacks became even more ferocious. Great! Ling Xiao's fighting spirit rose when he sensed the wild and violent saber intent from Ba Dao's body. His eyes were dazzling. His vital energy rose as a baleful aura filled the air. Chaotic light circled around his body as he activated the primordial immortal body to the extreme. He formed an invincible fist seal and swept it out continuously. It was like a chaotic divine mountain that soared into the sky and annihilated everything. The great pressure that Ba Dao brought to him caused his aura to condense to the extreme. His cultivation started to break through to the fourth heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm. This was the sublimation of an extreme battle. Ling Xiao needed a great battle to his heart's content in order to push his Dao of origin to the limit and then break through. Ba Dao did it. Regardless of why Ba Dao attacked him, Ling Xiao treated Ba Dao as his most respectable opponent and fought with all his might. Rumble. Ling Xiao's figure and Ba Dao clashed in the void. Every attack seemed to be able to destroy the heavens and earth as powerful fluctuations erupted. Blazing saber radiance rose. Although they were separated by the ring of life and death, the crowd still felt a chill run down their spines. The vast, masculine, overbearing, and majestic saber intent was like the heavenly might, causing everyone's hearts to tremble. They could not imagine how much pressure they would have to endure if they faced the saber intent head-on. Kill! 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 Ba Dao shouted 3 times in a row. His killing intent surged as his eyes blazed with dazzling light. It was as if some kind of shackle in his body had been broken. Surging saber intent filled the air as if it was going to break the heavens and earth and return the heavens to chaos. He held a broken saber in his hand as if the ancient saber emperor had come back to life. He exuded a powerful aura that could destroy the universe and slaughter all gods and demons. Clang! 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 The saber radiance was dazzling radiance as if it was the heavenly river. Boundless chaotic light soared as Ling Xiao performed the Fist of Epoch and the Fist of Fortune. The first fist restarted the epoch and destroyed everything. The second fist created the heavens and gave birth to life. The intertwining of life and death seemed to form a vast and mysterious Taiji diagram. The endless saber lights slashed at his body, but were easily neutralized by him. However, Ling Xiao was already attacking with all his strength. Facing an opponent like Ba Dao, he had to fight with all his strength. In Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, the 28 origin Dao fruits intertwined into a mysterious light that enveloped Ling Xiao. The surging saber intent of the tyrant saber did not seem to be able to harm him. Domineering blade, this level of saber intent is not enough to kill me. Ling Xiao said loudly as his eyes shone brightly. Domineering blade was giving him a lot of pressure. He was about to break through. However, Ling Xiao felt that it was not enough. He needed to add fuel to the fire. Ling Xiao could feel that there was still a terrifying power in Domineering Blade's body. It made his heart palpitate. That might be Domineering Blade's ultimate strength. Is it not enough? Young Master Ling Xiao, although I don't want to kill you, I can only offend you for my sister. You have to be careful. I might not even be able to control myself. Ba Dao's eyes flashed with a hint of struggle. In the end, he said seriously to Ling Xiao. Bring it on. If you can kill me, it's because I'm not as strong as you. I won't blame you. Ling Xiao said, the light in his eyes blazing. It was the kind of light that one would get when they see a prey. Rumble. Ling Xiao felt the blood in his body start to boil. Purple chi surged, and chaotic light rose. His aura had reached the peak of the third heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm. Avicii Hell, Demon Burial Saber. Domineering Blade uttered an extremely obscure syllable. His eyes instantly turned into a strange black and white color. Endless terrifying demonic aura surged out of his body. His killing intent surged, and his aura changed drastically. He was like a demon god that had sunk into hell. His surroundings were filled with death, violence, cruelty, and terror. It was as if he could destroy everything. The 7 syllables seemed to be able to resonate with heaven and earth. The space in the arena of life and death trembled violently. A black saber light condensed behind domineering blade. It was as black as ink, as if it was poured with demonic blood. When Ling Xiao saw the black saber light, he instantly felt goosebumps all over his body. His eyes were filled with shock. How can there be such a terrifying saber intent in this world? Ling Xiao's heart trembled. Such madness, violence, bloodthirstiness, and death aura seemed to have surpassed any other power. Even a great emperor would be buried in this saber intent. Even the sword intent of the 4 great divine swords and the 4 great divine techniques, which were known to be the most lethal, could not compare to this saber intent. Rumble. Domineering blade was like an ancient demon god. With the black saber light in his hand, he slashed down at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao felt chills all over his body. Before the saber and saber intent arrived, he felt as if his body was about to shatter. His body would definitely not be able to withstand this saber. I will die. Ling Xiao suddenly had such a thought. He felt as if his body had frozen. He could only watch as domineering blades slashed down at him. Is this the saber skill that killed the 7 great ant kings? How can it be so terrifying? Ying Yilong's body trembled. His face was extremely pale. He stood up abruptly, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. This saber skill, what do you think of? Zhu Qin said slowly, and there was a tinge of fear in his eyes. You mean, the forbidden saber? Ying Yilong's body trembled as he exclaimed. That's right. On the Eternal Emperor Road, legend has it that the forbidden saber will appear every time it opens. It has appeared again. Zhu Qin said, and there was a tinge of fanaticism in his eyes. With such a forbidden saber, Ling Xiao will definitely die. Congratulations, brother Zhu Qin, for being able to obtain the forbidden saber. It is definitely the sharpest saber. Ying Yilong said slowly, and there was a tinge of envy in his eyes. No. I won't die. This is just an illusion. No one can kill me, not even the heavens. In the arena of life and death, Ling Xiao suddenly opened his eyes. Chapter 3148. Boom. An extremely terrifying aura erupted from his body. Blazing divine light rose and terrifying energy filled the air. Chaotic light surged and swept across the land. His cultivation instantly broke through to the peak of the 3rd heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm and reached the 4th heaven. At this moment, Ba Tian's saber was already in front of him. Boom! Ling Xiao stomped on the ground and his blood energy rose. He grabbed the black saber light with both hands and a blazing chaotic light pillar gathered around him and shot up into the sky. Starting from Ling Xiao's hands, spiderweb-like cracks instantly appeared on his body. His life force receded like the tide. His body was like a withered flower, withering in an instant. Then, all of his flesh and blood scattered like ashes, vanishing into thin air. Clang! That black blade light tore through Ling Xiao's flesh and blood, intertwining with his knuckles and exploding with a blazing flame. Then, in an instant, Ling Xiao's entire body was submerged. Extremely terrifying killing intent surged and a storm of death swept across everything as if it wanted to annihilate all vitality. Ba Dao was the only one left in the arena of life and death. He was still in the posture of attacking. Such a terrifying scene shocked everyone. Is Ling Xiao dead? Everyone had the same question in their minds. He should be dead. Ba Dao's saber essence is too terrifying. It's not something that Ling Xiao can withstand. Someone said with uncertainty. The forbidden saber. Rumor has it that the forbidden saber is related to the secret of transcendence. It's very likely that it's a saber technique left behind by a transcendent. A saber technique that can destroy an extreme emperor's aura is indeed terrifying. Ying Yilong exclaimed. At this moment, he was extremely glad that he had chosen Zhu Qin. Ling Xiao's strength was beyond his imagination. However, he still died under the forbidden saber in the end. That's just a legend. For the past 108 eras, the forbidden saber has appeared every time the Eternal Emperor Road opens. However, I've never heard of anyone obtaining the secret of transcendence. Zhu Qin smiled faintly. However, this era is different. This era is the beginning of the immeasurable calamity. The secret of transcendence will definitely appear. If Brother Zhu Qin subdues this person, he might really obtain the secret of transcendence. Ying Yilong shook his head. He was extremely envious of Zhu Qin. Zhu Qin was really lucky to have encountered a taboo blade. Legend had it that the taboo saber could even slay a great emperor. Once Ba Dao grew to his peak, who could stop him? Perhaps only the other taboo sabers or the most powerful ancient prodigies would be able to contend against it. Not good, Ling Xiao didn't die. Just as Zhu Qin was about to say something, his expression suddenly changed and a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. Ying Yilong's body trembled as he hurriedly looked towards the life and death arena. How is this possible? He opened his mouth wide, and his body trembled as he spoke with great difficulty. On the life and death arena, the light that filled the sky dissipated, revealing Ling Xiao's figure. At this moment, Ling Xiao looked incomparably miserable. All the flesh and blood on his body had disappeared, leaving behind only a crystal-clear skeleton that emitted an indestructible light. The black blade light stopped where Ling Xiao's hands were, as if it wanted to pierce through his heart. However, it was firmly blocked by Ling Xiao's fingers and finally dissipated. The Avicii Hell Demon's burial blade had buried Ling Xiao's flesh and blood, but it had not buried his bones. Ling Xiao had survived. In his heart, a majestic life origin spurted out, causing his flesh and blood that had disappeared to instantly grow back. However, Ling Xiao's face looked extremely pale as if his vitality had been greatly damaged. What a terrifying Avicii Hell Demon's burial blade! Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. He knew that in a sense, he was considered to have lost. This was because if his bones had not merged with the two chaotic treasures, he would definitely not have been able to block the blade and would have died. The chaotic treasures had given him indestructible bones, which was why he could block the Avicii Hell Demon's burial blade. However, Ling Xiao was still severely injured. His cultivation that had just broken through to the fourth heaven of Imperial Emperor Realm almost fell back to the third heaven of Imperial Emperor Realm. Pfft! Ba Dao spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face was extremely pale. He was on the verge of collapsing, and his eyes were extremely dim. But I still lost. His voice was low, and there was even a trace of despair. Although he had obtained the power to destroy the world after using the Avicii Hell Demon's burial blade, the backlash to his body was also extremely great. At this moment, he no longer had any strength to continue fighting. Just like when he had killed the 7 great ant kings in Burial Desert, he was now in a state where he was like a lamp that had run out of oil. It did not matter if he died because he had lost to Ling Xiao, but his sister. When he thought of this, Ba Dao hurriedly raised his head and looked at Ling Xiao with a pleading gaze. He said, "Young Master Ling Xiao, I know that I have wronged you. So, feel free to kill me. I have no complaints at all. I only beg you to save my sister. She's innocent." It was as if he had used up all the strength in his body to say this. He stared at Ling Xiao with bloodshot eyes. He looked as if he would not die in peace if Ling Xiao did not agree. "Why should I kill you?" Ling Xiao said indifferently. His words caused Ba Dao to be stunned. "You won't kill me. But. This is the ring of life and death. We're fighting." Ba Dao stuttered. "Must you kill someone in the ring of life and death? Although you have offended me, I can see that your nature is not bad. So, I don't intend to kill you," Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ba Dao's eyes reddened, and his eyes were filled with gratitude. He did not expect that there would be such a righteous person on the Eternal Emperor's road. This young Master Ling Xiao was so righteous. That saber technique just now was not ordinary. Moreover, Ba Dao is also a talent. If I can subdue him and learn that saber technique in an instant, it will be a great help to me. Ling Xiao thought to himself as he looked at Ba Dao. But how can I subdue him? Perhaps I can start with his sister. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Ba Dao did not know what Ling Xiao was thinking. Otherwise, he might not be so grateful. Ba Dao, can you tell me now why you want to drag me into the ring of life and death? Ling Xiao waved his hand. Suddenly, a barrier enveloped the two of them, preventing people outside the ring of life and death from spying on them. Young Master Ling Xiao, young Master Zhu Qin asked me to kill you. He seems to have accepted a request from the 8 great dragon kings. If I don't kill you, he won't save my sister. Ba Dao said slowly. Young Master Zhu Qin. 8 great dragon kings. Ling Xiao frowned slightly. Chapter 3149. That's right. Young Master Zhu Qin is the pride of the Illumination Dragon tribe and the great-grandson of the Guardian. His power in the Illumination Dragon Imperial City is second only to the Guardian. My sister and I met him by accident. My sister was poisoned with heaven burial poison and young Master Zhu Qin said that he could cure her but the condition was to kill you. Ba Dao said slowly, and he explained the entire situation to him. Heaven burial poison. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Master, heaven burial poison is the poison in the heaven burial ant's body. It's extremely terrifying and even an emperor would die without a doubt. However, Zhu Qin was boasting when he said that he could cure heaven burial poison. Unless he condensed the poison origin or broke through to the great emperor realm, he would not be able to cure heaven burial poison. He was lying to this silly boy. The evil spirit's voice rang in Ling Xiao's heart. In that case, I still have to be the one to cure heaven burial poison. Looks like I have no choice but to take this boy in. Ling Xiao chuckled in his heart. That's right. Master, although this silly boy looks silly, you must take him in. He cultivates the forbidden saber which is related to the secret of transcendence. If you take him in, you will have hope of finding the secret of transcendence. The evil spirit said. Forbidden saber. The secret of transcendence. Ling Xiao was stunned. What was this forbidden saber? The forbidden saber is a saber technique. Legend has it that it was left behind by a transcendent. It can destroy the extreme emperor aura and is extremely powerful. It is related to the secret of transcendence. Forbidden sabers have appeared when the Eternal Emperor Road opened in the past. The Avicii Hell Demon's burial saber that this boy cultivates is one of the forbidden sabers. The evil spirit explained. I see. Ling Xiao nodded and said. It was no wonder that the Avicii Hell Demon's burial saber was so terrifying. When Ba Dao used it, he seemed to have transformed into an ancient chaotic divine demon. It turned out that it was a forbidden saber. Ling Xiao's heart burned with passion. Ba Dao, I can cure your sister's heaven burial poison. Zhu Qin was lying to you. He can't cure heaven burial poison. Ling Xiao looked at Ba Dao and said seriously. What? Ba Dao's body trembled as a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. The space between Ling Xiao's eyebrows shone brightly. The poison origin Dao fruit flew out. It shone with a mysterious light, containing the strongest poison in the world. It was incomparably terrifying. Poison origin. Ba Dao exclaimed in surprise. That's right. It's the origin of poison. You may not know that the heaven burial poison can only be detoxified by the origin of poison. Zhu Qin doesn't cultivate the origin of poison. In this Candle Dragon Imperial City, there's almost no one who cultivates the origin of poison, right? So he must be lying to you. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Damn it. Ba Dao's expression was somewhat unsightly, and a trace of anger appeared in his eyes. Only then did he realize that he had been used by Zhu Qin. Young Master Ling Xiao, not only are you not going to kill me, but you're also going to save my sister. What do you want from me? Avicii Infernal Demon Burying Saber? Ba Dao took a deep look at Ling Xiao, as if he had become smarter. Avicii Infernal Demon Burying Blade, are you willing to give it to me? Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said without denying it. If you can save my sister, not to mention the Avicii Infernal Demon Burying Blade, I'll give you anything you want. Unfortunately, the Avicii Infernal Demon Burying Blade is a gift from heaven, and I can't pass it to you. Ba Dao said with a bitter smile. A gift from heaven? The smile on Ling Xiao's face was a little forced. Master, the Avicii Infernal Demon Burying Blade is a forbidden blade. The blade's skill has a spirit and can choose its own master. It can't be passed to anyone else. The evil spirit said. Bastard, why didn't you say so earlier? Ling Xiao rebuked in his heart. However, he didn't show it on his face. He smiled proudly and said to Ba Dao, why would I covet your blade skill? Don't worry, I don't want the Avicii Infernal Demon Burying Blade. I just think that your combat strength is not bad, and I want you to be my protector. Are you willing? Ling Xiao spoke his mind directly. Ba Dao had a pure heart and didn't hold anything back from him. If this continued, he would really be a villain in vain. He might as well express his intentions directly. Young Master Ling Xiao, as long as you can cure my sister of the heaven burial poison, I'm willing to be your follower. Ba Dao said seriously after taking a deep look at Ling Xiao. After he finished speaking, he immediately knelt on one knee to show his allegiance to Ling Xiao. I'm talking about protectors, not followers. You and I can call each other brothers. There's no need for so many formalities. Brother, please get up. Ling Xiao was laughing in his heart, but he didn't show it on his face. He quickly helped Ba Dao up. Hypocrite, too hypocritical. The evil spirit rolled his eyes and criticized in his heart. Thank you, big brother. Ba Dao said gratefully. That's right. Where's your sister? Let's go and cure her now. Ling Xiao said with a smile. My sister is in Zhu Chen's residence now. Big brother, please follow me. Ba Dao said quickly. Zhu Chen's residence? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Zhu Chen wouldn't hand over Ba Dao's sister so easily, right? In the restaurant, they saw that Ling Xiao was still alive and had even set up a barrier to protect Ling Xiao and Ba Dao. Zhu Chen and Ying Yilong's hearts skipped a beat. They had a bad feeling about this. Brother Zhu Chen, could it be that Ling Xiao wants to kill Ba Dao? Ying Yilong asked. I don't think so. If he wants to kill Ba Dao, why would he need to set up a barrier? I'm just afraid that he has also seen the forbidden saber on Ba Dao's body. Zhu Chen's face was no longer as calm and indifferent as before. Instead, it became extremely gloomy and his expression was extremely ugly. You're saying that he's also after Ba Dao? Ying Yilong's heart skipped a beat. It's very possible. Ba Dao is mine. I'd like to see what kind of bear's heart and leopard's guts did he eat to dare to snatch someone from me. Zhu Chen suddenly stood up and closed the folding fan in his hand. His eyes were filled with a terrifying light. He turned around and walked toward the arena of life and death. Ying Yilong quickly chased after him. When Ling Xiao and Ba Dao left the arena of life and death, it caused a commotion among the crowd. They looked at the two of them with reverence in their eyes. At this moment, no one dared to look down on them. It was as if everyone had already ignored their cultivation and acknowledged their unparalleled combat strength. After all, the great battle just now had made everyone addicted to it. However, the crowd was puzzled. Why did Ling Xiao not kill Ba Dao? Ba Dao. When Zhu Chen saw Ba Dao and Ling Xiao walk out side by side, a sharp light flashed in his eyes. However, he immediately revealed a gentle smile and called out softly. Young Master Zhu Chen. Ba Dao cupped his hands at Zhu Chen. No matter what, it was Zhu Chen who had stabilized his sister's injuries. Otherwise, his sister would have been dead. Although Zhu Chen had lied to him, he was still very grateful to Zhu Chen. Ba Dao, although you've lost this battle, it doesn't matter. Victory and defeat are common in war. Just win the next time. I've already found an expert. Come back with me. I'll ask the expert to cure your sister's poison. Zhu Qin smiled faintly. He did not even look at Ling Xiao. He stepped forward naturally and held Ba Dao's hand. Chapter 3150. Ba Dao took a step back and avoided Zhu Chen's hand. Zhu Chen's face turned a little ugly. Brother Ba Dao, what's the meaning of this? Zhu Chen suppressed the anger in his heart and spoke in an extremely gentle manner. Master Zhu Chen, thank you for taking care of my sister these days. Master Ling Xiao has promised to cure my sister, so there's no need to trouble you. Ba Dao said seriously. Him. Zhu Chen was enraged. His worries had come true. This Ling Xiao actually had designs on Ba Dao. Ridiculous. How can he cure heaven's burial poison? Brother Ba Dao, don't be fooled by him. I'm the only one in the entire Candle Dragon Imperial City who can save your sister. Zhu Chen said coldly with anger in his eyes. He could no longer hold it in. Master Zhu Chen, how are you going to save my sister? Ba Dao asked seriously. To cure heaven's burial poison, you have to gather the poison origin to cure it. I've found an expert who will come to Candle Dragon Imperial City in a few days. He'll be able to save your sister then. Zhu Chen said with a proud smile. But Master Ling Xiao has gathered the poison origin. Ba Dao said seriously and pointed at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. The light in his palm shone brightly. Suddenly, the poison fruit of Tao flew out. It shone with a strange light and emitted a powerful poison light. What? Zhu Chen was dumbfounded. He completely did not think that Ling Xiao actually really possessed the poison origin. But how was that possible? Zhu Chen's face instantly darkened. He had done everything he could to subdue Ba Dao and even used Ba Dao's sister as a bargaining chip. However, because of Ling Xiao, all his plans were in vain. His heart was filled with murderous intent. He could not wait to kill Ling Xiao now. I can't kill him now. Not only is his combat strength extraordinary, but he also has many trump cards. Although the Candle Dragon tribe is respected in Candle Dragon Imperial City, we're bound by the Heavenly Way. If I attack recklessly, I'm afraid I'll be devoured by the Heavenly Way. Zhu Chen thought to himself. The Torch Dragon Imperial City's test was getting closer and closer. The Torch Dragon clan was not the one who made the rules. At best, they were the guardians of the rules. Only the Heavenly Tao was the one who made the rules. If they went against the Heavenly Tao, they would probably end up in an incomparably miserable state. However, if he were to let Ling Xiao and Ba Dao off just like that, then he wouldn't be able to vent the resentment in his heart. Moreover, with Ling Xiao and Ba Dao's formidable combat strength, if they were to join forces, then it would probably be even more difficult to keep them in check. Ba Dao, are you sure you want Ling Xiao to cure your sister? Although he has condensed the essence of poison, he might not be able to cure the poison in your sister's body. Zhu Chen said expressionlessly. That's right. I believe in young Master Ling Xiao. Ba Dao said seriously. After hearing Ba Dao's words, Zhu Chen's heart burned with jealousy. He sneered and said, very well. Since you want to follow Ling Xiao, I won't force you. But after all, I was the one who saved you and your sister. If you just leave like this, I'm afraid it's a little unkind, right? Ba Dao frowned slightly. Although he had risked his life to bring his sister out of Burial Desert and killed the 7 great ant kings, he was already at the end of his rope. Although it couldn't be said that Zhu Chen had saved them, if Zhu Chen hadn't brought them back to Zhulong Imperial City, they probably wouldn't have survived on the dangerous Eternal Emperor Road. Young Master Zhu Chen, do you want me to repay you? Ba Dao said slowly. That's right. I, Zhu Chen, am not someone who likes to help others. If you were to follow me, then so be it. However, since you've chosen to follow Ling Xiao, then don't blame me for demanding repayment. Zhu Chen said indifferently. What do you want? Ling Xiao asked indifferently. Don't worry, I won't ask for too much. I saved the two of you, so I want 200 billion origin pills. That's not too much, right? Zhu Qin said with a faint smile. 2 trillion origin pills. The surrounding trial challengers and Sky Prides couldn't help but gasp. This number was absolutely terrifying. After all, most of the trial challengers and Sky Prides only carried 1 trillion origin pills with them. In the universe, 1 trillion origin pills wasn't something that an Emperor Realm expert could casually take out. 2 trillion origin pills, a total of 20 origin pill rivers. However, when the crowd thought of Ba Dao's terrifying combat strength, it was reasonable for Zhu Qin to ask for 2 trillion origin pills since he had saved him and his sister. I don't have any origin pills. Ba Dao said with a bitter smile. All of his origin pills had been consumed in Burial Desert. Otherwise, he wouldn't have no origin pills for the life and death ring. 2 trillion origin pills. Alright, I'll pay. Ling Xiao said slowly as he looked deeply at Zhu Qin. Swoosh. With a wave of his sleeve, 20 origin source elixir rivers appeared in the sky, exuding boundless origin source energy. They were vast and unparalleled. Zhu Chen's eyes flashed as he collected the 20 origin elixir rivers in an instant. There was a faint smile in his eyes. Young Master Ling Xiao is indeed generous. For Ba Dao, you actually took out 2 trillion origin pills without batting an eyelid. I'm impressed. Ling Xiao said faintly, you've taken the origin pills. Now, can you hand Ba Dao's sister over to us? Don't worry. I, Zhu Qin, am a man of my word. Zhu Qin smiled faintly. His palm glowed brightly, and a sky-blue ice bed appeared. A beautiful girl was lying on top of it. She was surrounded by mist, as if she had been sealed in ice. I'll kindly remind you that she has been frozen by my secret technique. It has temporarily blocked the invasion of the burial heaven poison in her body. If you want to detoxify her, you have to do it within 30 minutes. Otherwise, the burial heaven poison will completely contaminate her primordial spirit and physical body. At that time, even a great emperor won't be able to save her. Zhu Qin said faintly. With a wave of his hand, the ice bed flew toward Ba Dao. He then turned and left. Everyone felt that it was boring, and they dispersed one after another. They originally thought that since Ling Xiao had appeared in front of Zhu Qin wouldn't let Ling Xiao go and there would be a good show to watch. However, they didn't expect Zhu Qin to let Ling Xiao go so easily. Tong Tong, I will cure you. Ba Dao looked as though he had received a treasure. He carefully hugged the ice bed and his eyes were filled with love. There are too many people here. Follow me. Ling Xiao said faintly. He returned to Fortune Building. Behind Fortune Building was an exquisite courtyard. It also operated restaurants and inns. However, it was expensive and ordinary people couldn't afford to stay there. Ling Xiao directly booked a courtyard and brought Ba Dao into the courtyard. Then he set up a barrier and enveloped the courtyard. Chapter 3151. Put her down. Ling Xiao said calmly. Okay. Ba Dao nodded and quickly put the ice bed down. Next, I'll detoxify her. You protect me. Ling Xiao said to Ba Dao. Don't worry, big brother. Whoever dares to barge in will have to ask my blade first. Ba Dao's eyes flashed with a sharp light. Ling Xiao nodded. Then, a blazing flame rose from his palm and landed on the ice bed. Boom! On the ice bed, a majestic white gas rose up, and the frost that sealed the girl's body instantly dissipated. Ling Xiao saw an extremely hideous scar on the girl's arm. It was as if she had been bitten by some kind of strange beast. The black poisonous fog around the scar made it look extremely hideous. At this moment, the ice had disappeared. The black poisonous fog instantly spread into the girl's body. The black poisonous fog seemed to be very intelligent. It was extremely fast and rushed toward the girl's heart and primordial spirit. Buzz! The space between Ling Xiao's eyebrows glowed brightly. The poison origin Dao fruit flew out instantly and floated above the girl, sprinkling down multicolored light. The colorful light seemed to contain the most poisonous and evil power, but it also exuded the most pure and yang aura. Instantly, the speed at which the black poisonous fog spread in the girl's body became extremely slow. Swoosh! At this moment, Xiao Jin, who had turned into a bracelet on Ling Xiao's wrist, seemed to have smelled something delicious. His eyes were filled with excitement and he instantly rushed up like a bolt of golden lightning. Xiao Jin lay on the girl's arm. Golden light shone around him as the black poisonous fog merged into his body. The heaven burial poison in the girl's body was extremely fierce. However, under the dual effects of the origin of poison Dao fruit and Xiao Jin, it quickly disappeared without a trace. Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. Although the heaven burial poison was fierce, the origin of poison Dao fruit was indeed its nemesis. Boom! However, at this moment, there was a sudden change. Suddenly, black runes rose from the girl's body and intertwined to form divine chains of order. Like a mysterious and powerful curse power, they instantly enveloped the girl's body. Originally, the majestic life origin in the girl's body was surging and she was about to wake up. However, at this moment, she fainted again. Not good. Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly. Boom! He performed a double-handed incantation gesture, and a bright light shone from his forehead. Another Dao fruit flew out and imprinted itself onto the girl's forehead like a powerful talisman. What happened? Ba Dao's expression changed drastically. His eyes were filled with worry. She's been tampered with, and a curse has been laid in her body. As long as the heaven burial poison is removed, the power of the curse will flare up. Ling Xiao said quickly, but the speed at which his hands were forming seals was getting faster and faster. The Dao fruit was a heavenly curse Dao fruit. It contained the power of curse origin and was mysterious and unfathomable. It constantly devoured the curse runes in the girl's body. Curse? It was Zhu Qin. Why would he do that? Why? Ba Dao's body shook violently. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he let out a shrill roar. Don't worry, I can break this curse. Light flickered in Ling Xiao's eyes. Vast and boundless origin energy surged out from his body, rapidly surging towards the girl. As the heaven-cursed Dao fruit's power grew stronger and stronger, the curse runes in the girl's body began to shatter. Young Master Zhu Chen, although 2 trillion origin pills is a lot, it's nothing compared to Ba Dao, right? Have you really decided to let them go? Ying Yilong asked in confusion. They had already returned to the central region of the Torch Dragon Imperial City, the Torch Dragon tribe's residence. Ying Yilong did not expect Zhu Chen to let Ling Xiao and Ba Dao off so easily. Let them go. How is that possible? Zhu Chen smiled faintly. His eyes were filled with a vicious light. 2 trillion origin pills. Not only is it to calm the hearts of the masses and let them know that the Illumination Dragon tribe has always been fair and just, upholding the righteousness of the heavenly Tao. More importantly, it is to deplete the origin pills on Ling Xiao. One must know that on the Eternal Emperor Road, losing an origin pill is equivalent to losing everything. Ying Yilong shuddered and quickly asked, does that mean that Brother Zhu Chen already has a plan? That's right. I've already tampered with Ba Dao's sister's body. No one can break the curse that I set. Unless Ling Xiao has also condensed the curse origin, Ba Dao can only come back obediently and beg me in the end. Zhu Chen said with a cold smile. Brother Zhu Chen is brilliant. When we kill Ling Xiao in the Torch Dragon Imperial City's test, Ba Dao can only come back obediently and beg you. At that time, this taboo saber will still be yours. Ying Yilong said with a smile. 3 days later, I will make sure that Ling Xiao dies without a burial ground. I've already made the arrangements. Brother Ying, you 8 dragon lords will have to help too. Zhu Chen said slowly. Don't worry. Brother Zhu Chen, we can't wait any longer. Ling Xiao must die. Ying Yilong said with a sinister smile. Rumble. However, at this moment, there seemed to be a muffled explosion. Zhu Qin shuddered and suddenly seemed to have thought of something. A light flashed in his palm and a curse ball appeared. Strange runes intertwined on it and it looked very strange. However, at this moment, there were already cracks on the intertwined runes and they dimmed. In the end, they shattered with a loud bang. The curse in Ba Dao's sister's body has been broken. How is this possible? Zhu Chen's face was filled with disbelief and his eyes instantly became extremely gloomy. Even the power of curses can be broken. How is this possible? Could it be that Ling Xiao has condensed the curse origin source? Ying Yilong said in disbelief. It's not impossible. Have you forgotten about that group of people? Zhu Chen said slowly with a tinge of shock and fear in his eyes. You mean, the robbers? Ying Yilong shuddered and exclaimed in shock. In the courtyard behind the fortune tower, Ling Xiao took a deep breath and the poison origin source and curse origin source flew back into his mind between his eyebrows. Brother Ba Dao, fortunately, I did not disappoint you. The heaven burial poison and the curse in your sister's body have been broken. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ba Dao's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with gratitude. Boom! He took a step forward and knelt in front of Ling Xiao. Brother, thank you for saving my sister. Ba Dao's voice was choked with sobs. Brother, what's wrong? Right at this moment, a clear and slightly weak voice sounded. Chapter 3152. Tong Tong. Ba Dao's body trembled. His eyes were filled with surprise as he quickly turned around. The young girl was dressed in a white dress and had already stood up. Her figure was tall and slender, and her skin was snow-white. Although she still looked a little weak, as if she had just recovered from a serious illness, her eyes were very bright, as if they contained a mysterious vortex that could see through everything. Brother, who is this? Seeing Ba Dao kneeling in front of Ling Xiao, the girl's eyes were filled with confusion. You're Tong Tong, right? I'm Ba Dao's sworn brother. Ling Xiao smiled as he helped Ba Dao up. Ba Dao's eyes were filled with gratitude. He then nodded and said, That's right. Tong Tong, this is my big brother. He was the one who cured you of the heaven burial poison. Zhu Chen, that shameless bastard, is too insidious. He actually cursed you. Ba Dao recounted everything that had happened after Tong Tong had fainted. Is he such a person? Tong Tong frowned slightly. She then looked at Ling Xiao seriously and said, Thank you, brother Ling Xiao. You're welcome. You're Ba Dao's little sister, so you're my little sister. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Brother Ling Xiao, Zhu Qin cursed me. I'm afraid he's going to deal with you and my brother in the end. Tong Tong said slowly with a strange light in her eyes. Tong Tong, what did you see? Ba Dao asked with a trace of anger in his eyes. Previously, he was extremely grateful to Zhu Qin. However, ever since he knew that Zhu Qin had cursed Tong Tong, he was completely enraged. He could not wait to kill Zhu Qin and interrogate him. Zhu Qin first asked for 2 trillion origin pills to deplete brother Ling Xiao's stock of origin pills. After all, an ordinary trial tester only has 1 trillion origin pills at most. He cursed me to keep brother Ling Xiao in check and prevent brother Ling Xiao from helping brother Ling Xiao. In order to get rid of the curse, brother Ling Xiao had to beg Zhu Qin. If I'm not wrong, Zhu Qin doesn't want to kill brother Ling Xiao in Candle Dragon Imperial City. However, in the Candle Dragon Imperial City test 3 days later, he'll definitely try to kill brother Ling Xiao. Tong said slowly with a wisp of wisdom in her eyes. How dare he? Ba Dao's eyes flashed with a cold light. Zhu Qin is the great-grandson of the Guardian. There's nothing he wouldn't dare to do for your forbidden saber. But I'm very curious, how will he deal with me after 3 days? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Brother Ling Xiao, it's not just because my brother is a taboo saber. Most importantly, it's because you're the chosen one. It's because of the providence in your body. Tong Tong looked at Ling Xiao and said. Ling Xiao gave Tong Tong a meaningful glance, showing a trace of surprise in his eyes. He didn't think that Tong Tong would see through his disguise so quickly. There's something wrong with her eyes. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. In Tong Tong's eyes, there seemed to be a river of stars flowing, the passage of time, the transformation of space, and the mysterious scenes of the birth and destruction of worlds. It was dazzling and resplendent, as if it could see through everything. It made people unable to help but sink into it with a single glance. This was clearly an extremely terrifying eye technique. Big brother, Tong Tong has the eye of the heavenly Tao, so I can see that you're the chosen one. Speaking of which, if it wasn't for Tong Tong's eye of the heavenly Tao, we wouldn't have been able to escape Burial Desert. Ba Dao explained when he saw that Ling Xiao was a little confused. The eye of the heavenly Tao. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. The eye of the heavenly Tao was said to be able to see through the heavens, illuminate the myriad of worlds, and see through everything. The eye of the heavenly Tao was said to be the #1 eye technique in the heavens. It was blessed by the heavens and was formed naturally. It was mysterious and powerful. Those who possessed the eye of the heavenly Tao were born with the providence of the heavens and were extremely heaven-defying. This was different from Ling Xiao's eye of the ruler. Ling Xiao's eye of the ruler was formed by unintentionally merging the 4 origins of chaos, destiny, karma, and reincarnation. It was no wonder that Ba Dao would bring Tong Tong into Eternal Emperor Road. Although Tong Tong's cultivation was only at the 3rd heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm, her eye of the heavenly Tao could make anyone unable to hide from her. Big brother, Tong Tong is a strange girl. She secretly followed us into Eternal Emperor Road this time. Initially, she wasn't allowed to enter Eternal Emperor Road. However, don't worry. With Tong Tong around, no matter what schemes Zhu Chen and the others have, they won't be able to hide. Ba Dao said slowly. Brother Ling Xiao, I think this might be an opportunity for you. An opportunity for you to become the child of the heavenly Tao. Tong Tong suddenly said. Child of the heavenly Tao. Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. That's right. Since Zhu Chen wants to deal with you, he has to rely on the Guardian. In Torch Dragon Imperial City, the Guardian has the support of the heavenly Tao. We're no match for him. However, if he dares to leave Torch Dragon Imperial City after 3 days, that might not be the case. Tong Tong said with a smile. You're saying that Zhu Chen will ask the Guardian to attack us? Ba Dao frowned slightly. It's very likely. Judging from Zhu Chen's actions, the Guardian is probably not a good person. At that time, if Zhu Chen dares to attack us, we'll capture him alive and then set a trap to lure the Guardian here. Perhaps we can kill the Guardian. Tong Tong said. Kill the Guardian? Tong Tong, you're too audacious. Ba Dao was slightly stunned. If he wants to kill us, why can't we plot against him? Brother Ling Xiao, the Guardian has the heavenly Tao fate on him. If you kill him and absorb his heavenly Tao fate, not only will your cultivation level increase rapidly, but it will also transform the heavenly Tao fate in your body and evolve towards becoming the child of the heavenly Tao. On this Eternal Emperor Road, if you become the child of the heavenly Tao, you'll be invulnerable. At least the heavenly Tao won't target or plot against you. Only then will you have a chance to compete with those ancient sky prides. After all, countless ancient sky prides have awakened in this Eternal Emperor Road. There's no lack of former chosen children and even children of the heavenly Tao. They have a strong foundation and we must quickly catch up with them. Tong Tong said slowly. In just a few words, she had already calculated Ling Xiao's future path. Tong Tong, you're indeed our little fox. Ba Dao swallowed his saliva and said with a bitter smile. Brother, you flatter me. Brother Ling Xiao, what do you think of my idea? Tong Tong looked at Ling Xiao with a smile. Ling Xiao pondered for a moment and nodded. Tong Tong, although I have no enmity with the Guardian, if he wants to kill me, I won't show any mercy. We'll do as you say. 3 days later, I'd like to see what Zhu Chen wants. Brother Ling Xiao, leave it to me. I guarantee that I'll give Zhu Chen a surprise. Tong Tong smiled sweetly, a trace of craftiness in her eyes. Chapter 3153. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. All the trial takers and sky prides in the Candle Dragon Emperor City were rubbing their palms together in preparation for the heavenly test. The Candle Dragon Emperor City was the first Emperor City that they had entered in the Eternal Emperor Road. Rumor had it that if one could pass the test at the fastest speed or even break the record in the first Emperor City, they would be protected by the heavenly luck. Therefore, countless trial takers and sky prides were hoping to come out on top in this heavenly test. At the central square of the Candle Dragon Emperor City, thousands of trial takers and sky prides were gathered there, surrounded by guards in armor. Each of them had a cold look in their eyes as they scanned the surroundings continuously to maintain order. There was a huge stone wall in front of everyone. It looked extremely smooth and crystal clear. This was the Heavenly Jade Wall, the place where the heavenly test was issued. Rumor had it that this was a test issued by the Heavenly Tao. Even the Guardian would not know about it in advance. Buzz! A bright light shone in the void as a figure appeared, emitting an extremely powerful aura. His hair and beard were all white, and he looked very kind and amiable. His eyes were incomparably deep, as if they could see through everything. He was the guardian of the Candle Dragon Emperor City, the Candle Dragon. The Candle Dragon was the embodiment of the Heavenly Tao in the Candle Dragon Emperor City. No one dared to challenge his authority. In the Candle Dragon Emperor City, the Candle Dragon could borrow the power of the Heavenly Tao. He was an existence that was comparable to a supreme emperor and his strength was unfathomable. Of course, his cultivation was not weak either. He had already reached the unparalleled emperor realm. Rumor had it that if the living beings in the Eternal Emperor Road did not have their path of cultivation cut off by the Heavenly Tao, the Candle Dragon would definitely be able to become an emperor. Is he the guardian, the Candle Dragon? In the central square, Ling Xiao, Ba Dao, and Tong Tong arrived and saw the Candle Dragon floating in the void. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered with a strange light. He could sense an aura that was similar to his from the Candle Dragon's body. It was the aura of the Heavenly Tao Luck. The Candle Dragon seemed to have sensed Ling Xiao's gaze. His eyes flickered as he glanced at Ling Xiao. He noticed me too. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat, but he remained calm and did not avoid the Candle Dragon's gaze. The Candle Dragon's gaze lingered on Ling Xiao for a moment before shifting away. Everyone, welcome to Candle Dragon Imperial City. The Candle Dragon spoke. His voice was deep and old, as if it contained the vicissitudes of time. It was like a great bell that rang clearly in everyone's ears. All the cultivators quietened down and lifted their heads to look at the Candle Dragon in the sky. Candle Dragon Imperial City means a lot to all of you. I don't think I need to say more. Next, the Heavenly Tao Jade Wall will release the content of this Heavenly Tao test. I hope that all of you can pass it and embark on the journey to becoming an eternal emperor. The Candle Dragon sounded very calm, but it made everyone feel a sense of urgency. Many of the trial challengers and sky prides looked at the people around them with vigilance. Everyone around them could be their competitor or even their enemy. In the upcoming Heavenly Tao trial, they would definitely kill them. If they wanted to reach the end, they could not trust anyone except themselves. That bastard Ling Xiao has indeed removed the curse in Sister Ba Dao's body. I won't let him off. In the distance, Zhu Chen and Ning Yilong stood together with cold murderous intent in their eyes. Brother Zhu Chen, if Ling Xiao is really a robber, then things will be easier. When his identity is revealed, everyone will definitely gang up on him. We don't even have to do anything. Ning Yilong sneered. Don't worry, I have already planned it out. This time, he will definitely die. Zhu Chen said coldly. Rumble. At that moment, the Heavenly Tao Jade Wall suddenly released a dazzling light. Vast heavenly power gushed out. The Heavenly Tao Jade Wall was crystal clear, and lines of distorted golden runes appeared on it. Those were primordial sacred runes, which were created by the God tribe after they comprehended the Heavenly Tao. They were known as the words that were closest to the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao trial had appeared. Everyone was shocked. Their eyes were filled with anticipation as they looked at the heavenly Tao jade wall with their eyes wide open. The heavenly Tao trial is in the burial desert. Ba Dao furrowed his brows. On the heavenly Tao jade annulus, the location of the heavenly Tao test was actually the burial desert. Moreover, it required everyone to enter the burial desert, find a burial fruit, and then safely leave the burial desert. Only then could they pass the test. However, no one knew the horror of the burial desert better than Ba Dao. He and Tong Tong had entered the burial desert by mistake. Moreover, they had already encountered the burial ants and 7 ant kings that were comparable to high-level imperial emperors in the periphery of the burial desert. In the end, they had to rely on the taboo saber to fight their way out. In the burial desert, there were not only the burial ants but also all kinds of beasts and dangerous places. Even imperial emperors would have a slim chance of survival if they entered. Burial desert. That is the most terrifying place around the Candle Dragon Imperial City. I did not expect the heavenly Tao trial to be in the burial desert. Someone cried out in alarm, and a trace of deep fear appeared in his eyes. Coward, if you don't dare to enter the burial desert, then go home. Ha ha ha. I have long wanted to see the burial desert. That's right. Only the burial desert is worthy of us. There were also people who were eager to give it a try. Instead, they were very excited and mocked those trial takers who were afraid. The entire central square became extremely noisy. The heavenly Tao trial has appeared. This is the revelation of the heavenly Tao. Warriors, step on your journey. The candle dragon said slowly, and his voice was like thunder. He waved his sleeve and the void immediately shook. The air-sealing array above the Candle Dragon Imperial City disappeared and a rainbow bridge instantly traversed hundreds of millions of miles. It was also outside the Candle Dragon Imperial City, in an unknown place. However, everyone knew that it was the burial desert. Let's go. Someone shouted loudly and took the lead to leap up, stepping onto the rainbow bridge and flying into the distance. This is our journey. Cowards are not worthy of the heavenly Tao trial. Only true warriors dare to face the burial desert, shake the eternal Emperor Road, and compete with the geniuses of thousands of worlds. Who else can do it but me? Some people were full of pride and were overwhelmed with emotions. Tens of thousands of trial takers and geniuses leaped into the sky. Even those who were afraid of the burial desert clenched their teeth and stepped onto the rainbow bridge. After all, they could only advance on the Eternal Emperor Road and could not retreat. Retreating meant death. They had no other choice. Let's go too. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered as he, Ba Dao, and Tong Tong leaped into the sky and embarked on the first expedition on the Eternal Emperor Road. Chapter 3154. The sky was vast, the ground was vast, and yellow sand filled the sky. It was a gray world, as if the desert was the eternal theme. After leaving Candle Dragon Imperial City, the crowd entered the burial desert. The burial desert was an incomparably peculiar space. Although there were specks of oases here, and even small patches of forests and lakes, the desert was the most important existence. Endless sand swept over, as if it could even bury the sky. The space here was distorted and filled with uncertainty. Therefore, after entering the burial desert, most of the trial takers and sky prides in Candle Dragon Imperial City were sent to various places. Moreover, the slaughter had begun at the instant they entered Heaven's burial desert. Swoosh! 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 A few tentacles that looked like they were made of metal shot out from the depths of the yellow sand. Like lightning, there were explosive sounds in the void. 2 to 3 trial takers who had just entered had their chests pierced through in an instant. They were sent flying into the void as they screamed in agony. They were extremely decisive. Radiance shone in their hands as they instantly took out powerful weapons and slashed at the tentacles. Clang! The sound of metal clashing was heard and sparks flew. The tentacles were extremely sturdy and only had a white mark on them. Oh no, It's poisonous. The 3 trial challengers felt their bodies go numb. Their expressions changed drastically as they cried out in alarm. Boom! At the same time, endless killing flew. A giant beast crawled out of the desert. There were thousands of eyes on its body like a blood moon, filled with bloodlust and cold killing intent. A ferocious mouth appeared in front of them and swallowed them. It was a centipede that was thousands of feet long and exuded an insufferably ferocious aura. Ah! No! Their eyes were filled with terror and despair as they roared out loud. But soon, their voices stopped abruptly. Under the condition of being poisoned, the 3 of them could not resist at all and were swallowed by the giant centipede in an instant. The giant centipede's eyes revealed a trace of human-like satisfaction. In an instant, it crawled into the desert and headed into the distance. Rumble. Further away, as soon as the geniuses of the trials entered the burial desert, they immediately realized that there were dozens of ants around them. Each of them seemed to be made of silver, emitting a brilliant glow and emitting a powerful aura. Oh no, it's the heaven-burying ant. Run! However, they had just leaped up when the dozens of heaven-burying ants had already flown over. They were like silver lightning, burying the few of them. Terrifying chewing sounds could be heard, causing everyone to shudder in fear. Some trial challengers were sent into the distorted space turbulence. These space turbulence were incomplete ancient emperor arrays that contained the power of space source. Before they could see the burial desert clearly, they were instantly torn to shreds, not even their bones remaining. The trial takers who had entered the burial desert suffered a large number of casualties almost instantly. However, most of the people who died were cannon fodder with weak strength. They were people with low cultivation who wanted to get lucky and get lucky. Most of them were buried in the burial desert. Of course, there were also some lucky ones. Some people were sent to an oasis and actually discovered the origin source fruit tree. The origin source fruit that they plucked from the tree allowed their origin source power to condense and their cultivation base to improve greatly. Some people were sent to a lake that was completely formed by the origin source power. They were overjoyed and were about to cultivate when they were killed by a giant beast that was lurking in the lake. Some people encountered powerful weapons left behind by their predecessors and even obtained powerful inheritances. All in all, the trial of the burial desert was filled with a cruel and bloody aura from the very beginning. In order to prevent them from getting lost, Ling Xiao had hidden Ba Dao and Tong Tong in his internal world from the very beginning. He only let them out after entering the burial desert. The place where they appeared was the most ordinary desert. In the distance, the desert formed a continuous mountain range that stretched as far as the eye could see. They sensed the aura of living creatures. There were dozens of scorpion-shaped primeval mutants that wanted to sneak up on the 3 of them. They were easily killed by Ba Dao. Big brother, the burial desert is extremely dangerous. The most dangerous ones are the burial ants. Not only are they powerful, but they like to form groups. When they appear, there are at least hundreds or thousands of them. They are very difficult to deal with. Our top priority is to find the burial fruit. Ba Dao said slowly. Sky burial fruit. Do you know where it is? Ling Xiao looked around and asked. The space in the burial desert is chaotic. It changes every once in a while, so no one knows the detailed map of this place. However, the burial fruit grows in places where vitality and death gather. If you want to find the burial fruit, you have to go to places with oases, lakes, and forests. Ba Dao said slowly. Although he and Tong Tong had accidentally entered the burial desert, they did not stay in the burial desert for long. Then, they were extremely unlucky and encountered the burial ants, which attracted the 7 ant kings. They had inquired about the existence of the burial fruit. Buzz! Tong Tong's eyes were intertwined with dazzling light. 7 colors were changing and mysterious. He was activating the Eye of Heaven Dao to explore the surroundings. There should be an oasis 10,000 miles away. At the same time, I also sense a weak death aura. If I'm not wrong, there should be a burial fruit. Tong Tong pointed in a direction and said. Tong Tong is amazing. Ba Dao rubbed Tong Tong's little head and said. Then let's go. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Tong Tong's Eye of Heaven Dao was indeed amazing. He could actually find the aura of the burial fruit in the chaotic burial desert. In comparison, Ling Xiao's Eye of God was more focused on fighting. In terms of searching the sky, it might not be as good as Tong Tong's Eye of Heaven Dao. Swoosh! 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 They leaped up, concealed their auras, and flew in the direction Tong Tong pointed. There were many dangers in the burial desert. They did not dare to be careless. Although 10,000 miles was nothing to them, there were all kinds of dangers in the desert. Many primitive beasts hid in the desert, waiting for an opportunity to hunt their enemies. Along the way, they encountered all kinds of powerful ferocious beasts, scorpions, venomous snakes, and spatial turbulence in the burial desert. In the end, they passed through safely. An oasis appeared in front of them. It was like a pearl in the endless desert. It was dazzling and contained exuberant vitality, making one feel comfortable. Chapter 3155. It is indeed an oasis. Tong Tong is amazing. Ling Xiao said with a smile. They leaped forward. The oasis in front of them was actually a lake. There was a small piece of land in the center, with green grass and a tree growing on it. The tree had a strange shape. It was only about the height of a person, but its branches were sparse. The branches were like dragons, and there was a black fruit hanging at the top of the tree. The black fruit was shrouded in black light and was filled with a thick death aura. However, Ling Xiao sensed an incomparably pure life origin from it. That was the sky burial fruit. Brother, be careful. The sky burial fruit is guarded by strange beasts. The sky burial fruit has a magical effect on the primitive strange beasts in the sky burial desert. I suspect that the strange beast is in the lake. Ba Dao said slowly with a glimmer of light in his eyes. Brother is right. That is a black dragon crocodile. It is 1,000 feet long. It is 520 feet in front of you. Tong Tong said softly with a glint in his eyes. Clang! As soon as Tong Tong finished speaking, Ba Dao attacked instantly. A snow-white saber radiance bloomed. His broken saber was unsheathed. It was like a long rainbow that contained a domineering and sharp saber essence. It slashed toward a certain spot in the lake. Roar! As if it felt the strong threat of Ba Dao's attack, there was a roar in the lake. In the next moment, a black figure rushed out of the lake. Endless waves rose and went toward the saber radiance. It was a huge crocodile that was 1,000 feet long. Its body was pitch black and covered in black dragon scales. There was a mysterious dragon aura around it. Its limbs were like dragon claws that shone with a sharp light. In its huge mouth, its sharp teeth were like swords that could pierce through everything. Its eyes were like blood moons that were filled with anger and killing intent. It had always been a hunter. Now that its real body was discovered and attacked, how could it not be angry? Facing Ba Dao's attack, the black light around its body swept out. It did not dodge. Instead, it opened its bloody mouth and pounced toward Ling Xiao and the other two. Boom! The huge blade light slashed on the black dragon crocodile's body. Suddenly, a few pieces of its extremely hard dragon scales were broken, and a huge bloody wound appeared on its body. It cried out in agony and sped up in pain, arriving in front of Ling Xiao and the others almost instantaneously. Let me. Ling Xiao stopped Ba Dao, who wanted to continue attacking. A bright light flashed in his eyes, and then he punched out. Crack! The primal chaos fist seal was unparalleled. It contained a fist intent that could destroy everything. It swept out like a storm. Before the punch arrived, the black dragon crocodile's sharp teeth instantly shattered. Then, it violently shot into its mouth, causing it to spit out countless blood mist. The unparalleled fist landed directly on the head of the black dragon crocodile. The sturdy dragon scales shattered instantly, and the head of the black dragon crocodile exploded. Even the divine soul inside couldn't escape, and was completely destroyed. Boom! The black dragon crocodile fell from the sky and landed in the lake, creating a huge splash. Fresh blood dyed the lake red. Big brother, your physical body is so strong that I'm afraid many ancient beasts can't compare to you. Ba Dao exclaimed in admiration. Big brother Ling Xiao, are you going to walk the path of proving your Dao through strength? Tong Tong tilted her head and asked curiously. Proving my Dao through strength? Maybe. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. It was too difficult to prove one's Dao through strength. That was when one's physical body had reached the pinnacle and broke through the origin of the Great Path. However, Ling Xiao's goal wasn't limited to that. Hurry up and collect the sky burial fruit. The smell of blood here is so strong. I'm afraid it will attract other ancient beasts. Ling Xiao said. All right. Ba Dao nodded. Then, he instantly leaped up and flew towards the land in the middle of the lake. He carefully took out a jade box, picked the sky burial fruit, and placed it in the jade box. Swoosh! At that moment, there was a dazzling golden light in the distance. It was surrounded by flames and it shot towards Ba Dao. It was an arrow, a golden divine arrow. It contained a powerful emperor's aura and it whizzed through the air. Its speed was extremely fast and it arrived before Ba Dao in an instant. Big brother, be careful. Tong Tong's face turned pale and she quickly reminded Ba Dao. Boom! A sharp light flashed in Ba Dao's eyes. The cold saber essence gushed out from his body. The space around him seemed to distort in an instant. The arrow flew towards Ba Dao's glabella. However, it instantly froze and couldn't go any further. Ba Dao slashed down with his palm. The arrow vibrated violently and gave off dazzling sparks. It seemed to have a mind of its own and it wanted to fly back. Boom! Ba Dao directly grabbed the golden divine arrow, allowing it to vibrate in his palm. The extreme emperor's aura that shot out even pierced his palm, causing blood to flow out. Who is it? Come out. Ba Dao said coldly. The golden divine arrow was an emperor's weapon. If Ba Dao hadn't used his trump card at the critical moment and caused the arrow to freeze, he wouldn't have been able to block the golden divine arrow given his physical strength. The person in the dark actually wanted to kill Ba Dao directly. I didn't expect you to be able to block my golden divine arrow. Not bad. You are indeed Ba Dao. You have some skills. A cold and arrogant voice resounded. Swoosh! 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 There were a few air-rending sounds and more than 10 figures flew over from afar. They floated in the air and gave off powerful auras. The two leading them were young men with imposing appearances. One of them was wearing black armor and he looked cold. His eyes were like steel and they were filled with cold killing intent. He was the leader of the 8 Dragon Kings, Ingilong. The other one was wearing golden armor. He was tall and handsome. He carried a golden bow on his back and it looked ancient and mysterious. There were mysterious runes carved on it and an emperor's aura spread out from him. He was the one who spoke just now. Behind him, there were also a few young men in golden armor with long bows on their backs. Their expressions were cold and arrogant, and their noses were pointed to the sky. Big brother, it's Feng Fan from the Divine Arrow clan. Ba Dao returned to Ling Xiao's side and said slowly. Divine Arrow clan. Fate has brought us together. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with a strange look. The Divine Arrow clan was closely related to the Deity clan in the immortal world. When the Deity clan declined, some of them who had the bloodline of the Deity clan left the immortal world and formed their own clans. The Divine Arrow clan was one of them. The Divine Arrow clan was born with great talent in archery. It was rumored that the Divine Arrow clan used stars as their targets. An adult from the Divine Arrow clan could destroy stars and their strength was terrifying. Feng Fan was the supreme talent of the Divine Arrow clan. He was a seventh heaven imperial emperor and he had condensed the origin of arrows. He held the Divine Arrow Clan's emperor weapons, the Golden Bow and the Golden Divine Arrow Clan. It was said that he never missed his target. He had made a name for himself the moment he entered the Candle Dragon Imperial City. Ling Xiao, you killed my ninth brother. Today, I will make you pay with your blood. Ying Yilong did not hide the cold killing intent in his eyes and said coldly. You want to kill me? I will naturally accompany you. However, I am curious. How did you find us? Ling Xiao smiled faintly and asked curiously.